December 11th, 2023. I am at Joel Pearl, and it's time to get in the weeds on a wonderful Monday morning for y'all. It's been a busy one. It's been a good weekend. It's been a crazy weekend. Jeremy Lambert is here. The balloons are here. Everyone's here. Jeremy, how are you feeling?
Well, it is Monday. It is December 11th, as you just said, Joel.
Thank you for that.
It was a long weekend. I know you had a long weekend as well. You were at the last Impact Wrestling pay-per-view ever. There's never going to be another Impact Wrestling pay-per-view, Joel.
It's true. And you know what? It was a good experience. I gave a few thoughts, and I'll give a few more here, but my general takeaways was like the show was fun. They had a smaller room than normal because they used the Don Koloff Arena, which is it's Battle Arts Academy, which is a training wrestling, MMA, and boxing school in Mississauga, which is about 45 minutes from me. And Don Koloff Arena is basically when they converted into an event space, set up some bleachers and chairs like you saw on the show if you watched. And the reason they ran it was because it's Santino's gym. It's Anthony Corelli's owned and operated gym. He's one of the owners. So they get a sweetheart deal. They've done a bunch of shows there. Destiny Wrestling, which is a local promotion, they run there. So it made sense because of the rebrand and the reports that came out months ago that, Impact was going to scale back a bit leading into the rebrand. That's why IPWF was running there. That's why Final Resolution ran there and not at Rebel Nightclub. It made sense, but they made the most out of the space they had. They did legitimately sell out, by the way, because when I saw we're sold out, I was like, come on, are you really? Because there's no buzz here. Like, it's just a bunch of matches and ZSJs on the card, which is great. It was just matches for matches sake. No, it was legitimately sold out to the point where like people were coming in. It was standing room only. They brought out more chairs, which was funny because they were bringing out like WrestleMania souvenir chairs for people to sit on. And at one point, George Iceman, who we talk about on our post Impact show on the main channel, he is part of our lore because he does the BTI stuff, and he was helping out because he's like the Canadian like tour manager for Impact right now. So he comes over to me. He's like, "Oh, over there in the bleachers, there's like a big empty spot. Two people, who had seats aren't coming. So do you want to go and sit over there?" And I was like, "George, I'd rather you give those seats to people who paid, because Impact is very kind to me and very kind to media who come around to let them into these shows." So I can stand. I'm wearing comfortable shoes. I like standing. I sit for a lot of my work, and I stood. And then they put me behind commentary because it was just a better area for me to be in. I was mostly off camera. I'll tell you a story offline that was very funny about people seeing me who weren't there but spotted me in the crowd and sent me some funny DMs out of that. But the show itself was a lot of fun. There were some moments. The Trent Seven signing was obviously the big takeaway and unexpected. When they announced it was a tag match, I personally wasn't surprised to see Trent Seven because he had just worked the Mystery Wrestling show in Gatineau, Quebec, which is basically Ottawa, which is like a 4 or 5 hour drive. This Impact show was very much either you work for the company and you're local, you're a champion, or you're a tentpole member of the roster and you don't have any other gigs elsewhere this weekend. So come and work. So it didn't shock me.
Or you're Zack Sabre Jr.
Or you're Zack Sabre Jr. Or you were a producer, because Diener hadn't been on the show since like Impact 1000. And when they announced, I was just like, oh yeah, no, they're running like a real bare bones show over here. And that's great. So anyway, long story short, when Trent came out, I was like, oh yeah, this makes sense. And then when Scott came out, I was like, oh, they signed him, because that is the Don Koloff special for the last few rounds. Is Scott comes out. It happened years ago when they signed Josh Alexander in the ring at Don Koloff on Scott's back. And then when Speedball got signed, he had just had a match with Josh Alexander. Scott came out. Speedball signed it on the back of Josh Alexander. And then they continued at this time. Trent Seven on the back of Speedball Mike Bailey signed the contract. It's the Impact human contract centipede that they keep playing. So it was fun. It was nice. I like the reveal with the towel that they did. Scott comes out and talks about like the most marketable stuff that Trent Seven ever did, which is come out with the towel, and he flashes the towel and to the camera, and then he says a few more words, and then he kind of pulls the towel down a little bit and it has the TNA logo stitched on it. I thought that was a great reveal, and it teased everyone. Scott's a very good storyteller. I have to say this. Scott D'Amore is not just in the product of Impact that there's a lot of really strong stuff, but like when he goes to the ring and he speaks, most of the time he's got a really interesting story to tell and good promo delivery. So it was good. The show itself was a lot of fun. And I really do recommend that people go back and watch it. It is the last Impact show. There's a very funny moment when they cut away to announce different parts of the card for Hard to Kill and the Snake Eyes pay-per-view. They go to a commentary shot, and I'm very clearly in the shot, and I very clearly walk out of the camera range because I did not want to be seen. And you just see me put my head down.
Wow. Joel wants nothing to do with Impact, decides to walk out unprofessionally and unsummarily. That's the word, right?
Summarily. It's just summarily and unprofessional.
Whatever. From the Impact pay-per-view. Does not want to be associated with Impact Wrestling.
It's not like you see me in every other wide shot. Yeah.
Wow.
I look back, I was like, oh shit, I was on camera all night anyway with the hard cam shot. So it didn't matter, but good show, fun show, good live.
So whoever Trent Seven's partner is at Hard to Kill, that person's going to be signing with Impact. Right?
Well, no,
That's how this works?
No, because the show's not at Don Koloff. It's at
it's got to be at that.
Yeah, that's the.
What if they do? What if they do an on location match? That's the only match that's there. Trent Seven and who got released 3 months ago, because those are coming up.
Oh, dude, the Mike Rallis signing is coming.
Oh, you're gonna be so excited!
I am getting so lucky with this Vegas taping. They've got Okada. They've got Will Ospreay and Josh Alexander having another match at the Snake Eyes TV tapings. Like, the pay-per-view itself is almost becoming secondary to what they're taping the next night at Palms on TV. It's
I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. It's like, hey, here's our pay-per-view. We're TNA wrestling again. Moose and Alex Shelley. But the next night you're getting Okada and Will Ospreay.
I'm hoping that they do some stuff with that card, because you're right. It's very much taking away from the Hard to Kill branding. Trinity and Jordan Grace is obviously a match that a lot of people are looking forward to. And like, they were trying to tell a few stories in the tag match that they had. It was Trinity and Grace taking on Giselle Shaw and Deonna Purrazzo. And that was Deonna's last match. We can talk about that too. But they really have some work to do on the actual pay-per-view. And they have no TV to really announce it for, because now we're coming up on the best of shows, which historically, you do a best of show in wrestling, your ratings aren't going to be strong. And it's not like Impact has like the strongest ratings. They do have a very strong social media brand, and I'm hoping that they make use of that to announce matches for Hard to Kill, similarly to what they did for Final Resolution.
We shall see with these upcoming television tapings and their best of specials. I hope they run Okada's entire TNA run on these best of specials.
I kind of want to see it. The blunders of Okada. Like I said on Friday's show, I need Okada to come out with the stupid mask, tear it up, burn it, whatever he needs to do. He's teaming with Motor City Machine Guns to take on what was it, Edwards, Moose, and Myers. That's right. Yeah, Brian Myers, who was on our show on Wednesday, talking about matching gear with Eddie Edwards. We got that scoop because they got matching gear. Edwards, by the way, got busted open bad at that show. It was not planned.
You know, they didn't win, so we can't unfortunately claim that we continue to boost careers with victories. But Myers got an Okada match announced, so like, that's a victory, right? Like, we can take that. We can take that claim, I feel.
Yeah, I think so. Because I'm going out of this interview with Brian Myers, I was like, well, shit, our algorithm's going to go down the toilet. So let's just try and focus on the positives. And they gave us the positive. He got the 6-man tag. So good for him. Good for you, Brian Myers. Get to work Okada.
Yeah. I thought Final Resolution was a good show. It did feel very much of like, here's some matches, have fun, good luck. Main event was a lot of fun, though. Motor City Machine Guns losing. I mean, I get it, but like, are we just gonna keep doing this? Where this is what I worry about with Ospreay now. Like, Alexander's gotta beat Ospreay, right? He's gotta beat him. Got to.
This is where my brain went immediately, because I saw the 4 men in the ring. I'm like, everyone's a champion except for Josh Alexander. But you can't keep beating Josh Alexander because you have to rebuild him in some way after injury. Zack Sabre Jr. probably isn't going to lose. It's his first night in. They could do it, but New Japan doesn't really love their champions losing. Even their television watch belt champion, they don't want him losing.
He can lose.
He could lose, but they didn't want to do that. And then you've got the world
Lost to
champion.
Brian.
That's true. You don't want, but that's different. That's Bryan Danielson.
I mean, I understand Bryan Danielson's the GOAT, but the other two people in this match were your world champion, your X Division champion.
So here's my point. Saban doesn't have a match yet for Final Resolution, or sorry, for Hard to Kill. I wouldn't doubt that they do Saban and Alexander, and I wouldn't doubt Alexander wins. I wouldn't doubt that he wins the X Division Championship, beats Will Ospreay the next night. The TV tapings, they call it an X Division Championship match. Josh Alexander gets that big win. They'll maybe get to a third match because if Will Ospreay is going to be in AEW, then there's a relationship there with Impact that Will could possibly work another show for them. Good match to set up a rubber match. But option C comes back into fold. That's something that I don't like them using too often, but in the case of Josh Alexander, it would work because it's been used on him before. So this is a good chance for him to reverse that and take the world championship. So Saban got pinned by Alexander at the show. That's what sets that up. That's what puts that wheel in motion. You couldn't pin the world champion because he's got to take on Moose at the pay-per-view. And again, we talked about Zack Sabre Jr. So it made sense to pin the X Division champion here, if that's where you're going.
Yeah, this all makes sense until Tony comes up to Scott at the Snake Eyes tapings and being like, my guy ain't losing this. He's about to start with us full time. He ain't losing to Josh Alexander in a match that's going to air like the week he's starting with us. So this ain't happening.
What if Ospreay walks out of New Japan with the global championship, the Global Force IWGP World Heavyweight GHC Championship?
I saw Ospreay comment on this. He's like, "Oh, this sounds like a great title for someone who's going to be working in two companies, multiple promotions, things like." Isn't that the purpose of the Continental? Isn't that the whole purpose of this tournament? Is so you can defend it on New Japan, ROH, and AEW television. Now it's you have the global championship. John Moxley is right, by the way. Too many fucking belts.
Yes.
We're way past the 5-minute mark. I can curse.
You're good.
Too many belts on this. Consolidate. Get all of you companies need to come together, not to put together a super show, to put together a belt consolidation event. That's what it should be called. AEW, MLW, CMLL, Triple A, Impact Wrestling, New Japan, all of you come together, and I don't care what your super show is. I want your belt consolidation show. That's what we need. That's what we need for this big brouhaha meeting. All right? Make it happen, Rocky.
You can also make leaving a thumbs up happen on the video and subscribe to us here on the channel because we're marching towards 15,000. I want 15,000 subs by the end of this year. That's my goal. Please help us get there. Tell your friends, make whatever Gmail accounts you need to, sign into them and sub to us here. And of course, hit the bell, get your notifications. And also, if you're feeling in the festive spirit, go ahead and donate a super chat to us. Any amount, get your question statement read on the air. I do want to bring up why Soul was saying it's almost like boxing, and it's absolutely true.
It is so many of these belts. It's we got to consolidate. We got to consolidate these things. We don't need them all. What do we need? A never open weight ROH 6-man AEW trios. We got 3 6-man titles. None of them mean anything.
I was going to say, and you've got Okada and Tanahashi holding one of them, and I'm sure most people don't know that.
Yeah, Okada, they're probably going to lose them to United Empire at the Road to Tokyo Dome show in a couple of weeks because United Empire is actually a trios faction, and the other group, they just beat Ishii all the time, so whatever. And then the other group is Okada, Tanahashi, and Ishii. The 6-man titles, Gates of Agony, who was stepping. Oh, United Empire was seemingly challenging them for the ROH 6-man titles with Brian Cage. And then you got the Acclaimed, who ain't been on television in a month. Billy Gunn's doing interviews like, yeah, we're fine. They're doing this tournament, so we don't want to be part of the show. We're not part of the show because this tournament is going on. All these people with title. Moxley's right. What Moxley called the one promo he did, he's like, you got the fucking Oceanic championship. Like, what do we need this belt for? What does this belt mean?
Indiana doesn't need another title.
Knock it off with these titles. He's right about this, right? And we've said this for a while. I've said this for a very long time. These belts are props. They're just devices of like the belt's on the line, but they don't mean anything at the end of the day. Like, they just don't.
And this is why this is funny, because like the ranking system in AEW, this is one of the reasons why it made sense. Excuse me for a second.
The UFC, by the way, they have titles in each division, but then they do this they create interim titles when a champion's out. Like, the UFC gets very, very all over the place with they tried creating the BMF title, which maybe lasted one fight. Maybe they had 2 fights for that. I don't know. But like, yeah, they tried to create the UFC tries to stick with divisions, but then when a champion gets hurt, it's like, let's create an interim title for this. And then they have 5-round main events anyway. All of too many titles. Too many. Here's all I want, Joel. Here's all I want. I need a world title. I need a secondary title. I need a tag team title, a women's title, and a women's secondary title. That's it. I want 5 titles. If you can convince me you can do a women's tag team division properly, fine. Give them a tag team championship as well. None of these promotions can convince me they do it properly. So I don't want them just doing it for the sake of doing it.
And I agree with you. The point I was going to make before I started coughing, excuse me for that, was that the ranking system worked in that you were building stories that built to title matches. You were doing that by having singles feud, or at least hypothetically, you're having feuds with other wrestlers who are vying for a championship, which at its core, wrestling is about the championships. And you have little individual side quests along the way with personal issues, and you settle them in the ring. That's wrestling 101. That's all it is, and that's all it needs to be. And you tell an engaging story and a compelling story to lead to a championship match, and multiple stories can happen at once. That's why, to me, multiple belts aren't always needed, other than the ones that, Jeremy, you just mentioned. And again, you can make the case for women's tag titles. I would make the case for women's tag titles more than ever if the stories are there, because the talent is certainly there. You can establish a lot of women who can make tag teams and have really good, solid tag matches, but you need to tell the stories as well. So it really comes down to being able to tell the stories and not just introducing titles for the sake of introducing titles. And that's why the Global Championship, it's fine. You're rebranding the
it's just the United States title. It's just rebranding. That's all.
I personally would have just called it the Intercontinental Championship again and just gone back to the original lineage of that and just melded it in with the US and UK, championship for IWGP, and that's it. But instead, we're doing the global, which has made a lot of Noah fans, Pro Wrestling Noah fans, upset, because does anyone want to tell them what the GHC stands for in the GHC Championship in Noah? No, we don't need to do that. It's cool. Don't worry about it.
All these titles. I'm Team Moxley with this. John Moxley's promotion would rule, by the way. If he had a promotion, it'd be real fist fights. It'd be blood in every match, and there'd probably be like 1 title. That's it. It'd be blood sport, essentially.
I was gonna say it's just Josh Barnett's blood sport run by John Moxley.
That would be Moxley's promotion. It'd be blood sport. He'd have some titles. He'd have it by weight classes. I guarantee. This man's probably won a championship or 2 because they just hand him out like candy. Sean, have you ever won a championship in wrestling? Look at all these belts you got in the background.
Yeah, one of them has to be. Yeah. There you go.
Championships. Joel's a Fightful champion for no reason.
Hey,
you're telling me.
You know what tomorrow is, by the way? Tomorrow is day 1000.
Is it?
It really is.
That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. We've still got footage from last year we haven't aired.
That's right.
Because it's so terrible.
Yeah,
It's the worst.
it was bad.
It's edited and everything now. Like
I'm
we
sure it was
used
looking
our
fun.
video editor to do it. But like, listen, I'm dealing with enough bullshit on the internet right now about me wrestling. So
They're
I
not
don't know
still
if I
doing
need.
it.
I don't. Well, I mean, it features me beating you with a novelty-sized dildo, Joel. That was
Yeah, you
which
really ruined the business with this.
the editor, who we did not instruct to do this, edited, like, blurred it, and I was like, probably a good idea. Probably a good idea.
That was a great day.
Shout out Wild Egg. Please
Oh,
sponsor
the
me.
eggs are
Yes,
back.
Please
sir.
sponsor me. So I came here to rant a little bit, guys.
Oh,
Sure.
all right.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a little bit about my social media experience.
No.
I have thousands of people blocked on Twitter. And, occasionally I'll see somebody say, he's got half of wrestling Twitter blocked. Nah, buddy. I got 267,000 followers. Lots of people follow me because I'm very good at the Twitter. Very good at it. I've been using the Facebook more lately under the Sean Ross Sapp, Facebook.com Sean Ross Sapp thing. And I've been actually logging on to Fightful's Facebook here and there. I've been on Fightful's Facebook more times in the last week than I've been on Fightful's Twitter in 5 years. And that's because I get on social media, I get on Facebook, and I just see lies. I mean, like not even slick. On Twitter, they know I'm going to correct them and it'll get community noted. People just lie on Facebook because they think they can get away with it. I'm going to fix that. So I get on Instagram. And mainly positive. One of the clips of Shaza went viral. Very happy about that. But you'll occasionally get those people that are too stupid to read my bio that says, first off, don't tag me in this stuff because I don't care. Tag Fightful in it. But, just jerks. Fightful Select, everything's sweet. It's good. It's nice. Great. I can't log into my tout for some reason. But then yesterday I get on Twitter and I see the Mark Briscoe thing. And it grossed me out so bad. It grossed me out so fucking bad. It really, really annoyed me. Like, is this guy not allowed to be a little bit hurt? Is he not allowed to still grieve over something that was important to him? And people making it a lot of something that it wasn't. Like, come on. If you're talking about how it was popularized outside of wrestling, that's fine. I understand it. I get it. Everybody who has watched wrestling for any period of time understand why it was popularized within pro wrestling. And I think that's important context. But I see gross ass people trying to finger wag him for being upset, hurt, bothered about something that maybe diminishes or minimizes his brother that he lost less than a year ago as he's approaching his first holiday season ever without his brother, that he has ever experienced without his brother. And I see these dopey motherfuckers trying to finger wag him. I don't feel like somebody's job should have been called for. I'm glad he posted a follow-up tweet to that. But I'll say this. If you type something on Twitter, say it out loud before you do it. And if, even in the presence of somebody else, say, I want to run this tweet by you. And if they look at you like you're an idiot, well, then you're an absolute idiot. Now, I'm not talking about, OMG, crazy Frankensteiner or some shit like that. That'll get you looked at weird too. But if you think it might be even a little mean-spirited, just go up to somebody and be like, you know what? I'm going to tweet this at somebody. I'm going to tweet this. Oh, and for the context, his brother died tragically this year. And you can apply that to anything. To anything. Just don't tweet stupid shit. Don't say stupid, mean shit to people. Because here's the thing. A lot of people are like, imagine if you said it to his face. Honestly, he might not do anything. He's a really nice guy. He's a really sweet dude. But it's a terrible, hurtful thing to do. And I don't know why so many people are terrible. It's just.
In the words of Taylor Swift, Baron Corbin stan Taylor Swift, you say it in a tweet, that's a cop-out. You say it in the streets, that's a knockout.
There you go. There you go. And listen, I am no tough guy, but I have met zero of the thousands of people that have said horrible things about me in person, I'm very much willing to bet that even fewer of those 0 are going to say something like that to Mark Briscoe in person and finger wag him in person. And I mean, I get it. It's social media. Sometimes you have the benefit of saying things remotely that you would not say in person. And I'm not saying like, oh, you know what? You need to fight over everything you say. No, that's stupid too. Just maybe don't say stupid, hurtful shit to people. Like, because it's really pointless. I mean, if you're not comfortable with your boss finding out what you tweet, whether or not it is public or anonymous or whatever, probably shouldn't say it. Probably shouldn't say it.
Yeah, I saw the tweet on Friday during SmackDown, and I was just like, oh, it's gonna be a thing. And I walked away, and I hope more people just walk away. I hope more people just go offline, take a breather, take a walk around the block, whatever you need to do, get out there. And the whole idea, I love this, Sean being like, talk to your friend, relay the tweet by them. Well, some of these people just don't have those friends, and that's another problem that exists. It's very upsetting. It's very frustrating that people just want the anonymity. And Jeremy and I have talked about this a million times. If they have no face in their avatar and they're talking shit, they're either under 16 or over 65, and they're not going to change. So I ain't engaging. I'm just blocking.
They've also got a reason to hide as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm not saying like anything shouldn't be anonymous or anything like that. I mean, I get accused of having burners all the time, and unless it has a Bengals logo on it, I don't. Well, I got my private account now, but I don't really do burner stuff on that. But like, it's just. And listen, I see it. Some of their friends are also tweeting BS. Functioning human being. Go to your mom. Ask your mom.
I ask my wife all the time before I say, and like I troll tweet and have fun with, make jokes and stuff. And sometimes I'm just like, are people gonna take this the wrong way? And a lot of times she's like, yeah, maybe, but like it's fun. Most of people will get it. And then other times she's like, yeah, don't do that one. You're going to catch way too much flack that you just probably don't want. Like, yeah, you're right. So, and then I don't tweet it.
I do have some breaking news. Per internal live events reports, this is now the highest grossing In the Weeds of all time. Will Chisholm says, SRS, any update on Charlotte's knee? Unfortunately, I don't. It is a legit injury, though. She had to be helped to the back. She was in a lot of pain. Man, I saw the spot. I don't know if you guys did. It was filthy. It was gross. So
it was not the moonsault, by the way.
No.
Yeah, people were trying to pretend or claim that it was the moonsault. It wasn't the moonsault, but yeah, it did not look good.
Senior Nerd says, why is he tagging Triple H and asking somebody to be fired during the holiday season? Triple H has nothing to do with the Fox Twitter account. Listen, I'm pretty sure that he doesn't know that, first off. Second off, he did post a follow-up tweet. And he said, times are hard. I don't think anybody should be fired over this. He was emotional about it. That's why he did that. And my line of thinking was, are you more bothered as a human being that he posted that in an emotional situation than he was hurt by that original tweet? And he was like, you know what, my bad. And that was good. I also don't like people finger wagging. I'm like, yeah, that's more like it. Man, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. That dumbass shit. Oh my God. Sorry to curse so much on the air, but
what are our sponsors going to do? What are our sponsors going to think?
Email us back for one. I've been trying to land one deal for a month and a half. Wish they would seal that deal.
Yep.
But hey guys, holiday Christmas stream Sunday at 8. All the proceeds go to the non-SRS Fightful staff.
They go to me.
There you go. Doesn't include these two fellas up there.
Wait a minute. Then Joel and Kate at 8 will be live on Fightful Overbooked this Sunday.
I was wondering if you guys were going to do the head-to-head stream here. I'm going to be on both streams.
I will say this here because I can. I did pitch a bit to Kate where I was going to pitch to Sean too, where we start the show. It is Kate and I doing the show as if it's Joel and Kate at 8. And then Sean shows up and just be like, guys, what are you doing here? And
it'll be Joel and Kate plus 8
Yeah, we made
Yeah,
that joke before.
okay.
It's yeah, you're not original here. I'm sorry, buddy.
No, this is original because it will be +8 because there's going to be a bunch of people, I assume, from the Fightful stream or from
And
the
you can
Fightful
only
team.
have 10 people on a stream at once on this app. It's true.
Yes, that was a good shot, Sean.
Stop.
Fightful voting. So we're doing things a little bit different. We did it at the end of the year last year. We're going to do the voting around the beginning of January this year. So December 25th, subscribers of FightfulSelect.com will have the opportunity to nominate this year. Last year it was staff nominations, fan vote. This year it is fan nominations and staff nominations and just a fan vote. So December 25th through basically December 31st, you'll have the opportunity to nominate. So what you'll do is you'll see all the categories, you'll put them in a little Word document, then you'll copy, paste those over into the comment board. We will take your recommendations, put them down, and yeah, there you go. Guys, thank you all for letting me
I'm going to start pushing the Snoop Dogg Miz match of the year agenda.
I seriously thought about doing a people's elbow like Snoop Dogg, but I knew that people would think that I just didn't know how to hit the ropes.
Yeah.
You would have to yell, "This is for Snoop," and hope that the context got through.
You know what? There was a lot of things I yelled during that match. Like I was yelling at Shazza for switching out my thumbtacks for candy corn, but you couldn't hear anything on commentary.
Yeah, after you left the show, when we talked about this, I went on a whole, not a rant, but I talked about how a lot of indie wrestling promotions don't invest in audio to pick up crowd noise, and that's been a big thing in the concert scene for the last like 10 years because everyone's wearing in-ear monitors and it's weird not to hear the crowd. So yeah, we went off on that.
Jeremy, you got to stop drinking water like that.
Why? It's mine. Nobody else does it but me.
I get to put up with
Joel,
it.
I completely agree with you. I was able to procure a copy without commentary that was filmed from ringside, and I was so happy about that. But that I've gotten I think the last count that somebody gave me was 1.5 million views on clips of me and Shazza, which I'll just say more viewers than Vince Russo ever drew for an episode of TNA Impact.
Always good to see Sean.
That's right.
Always good to see Sean. He was up early. This is very early for him. Usually he's in the second half of the show. Coming in here the first half. Yeah. Well, he said Shazza ruined his sleep schedule last week. So, you know, I didn't want to talk about the Mark Briscoe thing, but
and neither did I. But I mean, I don't know how much further you want to go with it because I don't personally want to go too much further, but I will listen to anything you want to add.
Well, I don't have much to add besides what Sean said. I didn't see it. Like I try very hard to stay off of social media during the weekend. I'm on locked in 5 days a week, like during the weekday, because I'm collecting news and looking for news and everything. Weekend, I try to take a break. I had a busy-ish weekend with non-wrestling stuff. So like I tried to stay away from it. I saw like we covered it as a team, as a news team and stuff. So I saw Mark's tweet and then I saw the apology and I didn't look further into that. I always say this to you all the time anyway, Joel. Don't read the comments. So like I saw Mark's tweet. I didn't want to read the comments past that because I'm sure they sucked. And then I saw his apology and I'm sure the comments on that sucked as well. I don't read the comments on my own posts. I don't read the comments on my own show. I don't even read the promo. I don't even read the comments on like good headlines that I write that I'm sure are saying nice things about me for like, this is a great headline, Jeremy. Like, unless I'm tagged in it, I don't care to read the comments. And even stuff I am tagged in, I don't care to read those comments either. So no, I didn't read any of the comments. I can only imagine. And then I saw mainly what I see of things is people being upset over what people are upset about. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's third degree upsettedness, which is just
that's largely how like I see more people being upset over what people are mad about than what people are actually mad about. Like that's usually how I keep up with what's going on. Man, just understand what this man is going through. Okay? Just understand what he's going through. And he recognized that, yeah, calling for someone's job probably not the best idea in the world, and he apologized for that. Otherwise, what are we doing? And this come. What do I always say when it comes to just social media and like feeling you got to fucking comment on everything, Joel? You don't. You are not part of this story. This shit is not about you. Just because you have this platform to do something and you want to try to put your opinion out there on everything doesn't mean you should do it. Always say, shut the fuck up. That's all you got to do. Shut the fuck up and move on. Do something else with your life. Then try to be the friggin' central figure in a story or a narrative or a tweet or a life that ain't got shit to do with you.
I'm the main character. If you know, you know. Why Solable asks, his real question, was the internet a mistake? No, the internet wasn't a mistake. Social media wasn't even a mistake. It's
people were a mistake.
People were a mistake. And again, this show is aptly called In the Weeds, but I don't want to get too deep into this weed because I think we've covered a lot of it. But when it comes to social media, it's just, we've talked about it. There's a lot of just literacy that needs to be the focus, and people who just want to argue for the sake of arguing about things they don't understand and aren't needing to be a part of. Why? Who cares? I saw the tweet, like I said to Sean and to you, Jeremy. I said, I saw the tweet and I said, okay, it's going to be a thing. I saw one of our friends retweet it and just be like, and I was like, oh God, can this not be a thing? And then it became a thing, and it became more of a thing, and everyone likes to get progressively angrier, and just move forward. Just move forward. The problem isn't with you. The problem isn't, yours to handle. You don't need to stand up every single time someone like this says something. Like, it doesn't need to be that way, but I digress. I stay away from it 99% of the time. If it's especially egregious, I will probably say something, and I'll just point out something that needs to be said. Chi-Town Spurs was smart and said football was on. I didn't see anything. So
yeah, football on, basketball on, not yesterday, but like hockey on. People get mad at me. I'm like tweeting about like the Thunder game during wrestling. It was a like the AEW pay-per-view, and like AEW's running a pay-per-view, NXT's running a show. It was the other week. And like I'm tweeting about the Thunder and Warriors game because Chet Holmgren's hitting this big shot, and people are like, Jeremy, wrestling's on. I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking watching wrestling. I don't care to comment on wrestling. What excited me in that moment was Chet Holmgren hitting a game-tying 3, not whatever was happening on this AEW pay-per-view.
And also, like, you're gonna comment on it eventually, and it's not gonna, like, that's why I've kind of curbed my tweeting most of the time for wrestling shows. I'll tweet a joke here and there, or just be like, that was stupid or whatever. But like, I don't tweet nearly as much during shows as I used to, because now I have a different platform where I can talk about it and be a lot more eloquent, and people here in the chat will understand what I'm coming from or where I'm coming from when I say what I say, and it doesn't get misconstrued and tossed into a pack of weird dogs that don't even know how to read properly half of the time. Chi-Town Spurs says, if the Bears finish the season undefeated, WWE should, if the Bears finish the season undefeated, WWE should have Punk and Rollins bond over it and become tag team champions.
The Bears are going to get the number 1 overall pick because the Carolina Panthers are the worst team in NFL right now. The worst run franchise, the worst on the field product, just garbage, awful from the top of the organization all the way down. And they're winning football games. Good on the Bears. People now, like, we've done the Seth Rollins bit every single week, where he always tweets, I love football, or I hate football. Usually I hate football. And like, we do an article on it. We've done it every week. To now, people, like, after the Bears won last night, people were tagging me. It's like, run the article, Jeremy. I was like, don't worry. I got you. So
we've already
become therapy. Yeah, that's become therapy to bitch about the Panthers, because they're so awful. The Carolina Panthers, just a terrible franchise.
And Louis sent us a super chat saying, hell, even football was on. Soccer for the Americans out there. Football. And so I'll bring this up from West Holable. For all the shit I hear about Twitter, I don't understand how you guys do it. More power to you. And that's the thing. You kind of curb your Twitter use based on when you need to, what you need to, and I'll just search things I want to find. 9 times out of 10, I'm just scrolling past this shit. I've got a window on one of my desktops open with Twitter. And while I'm doing literally anything else, I'll take a look, just see if anything important's come up, and I go from there. I focus more on my own curation of my own Twitter than I do what other people are saying 99% of the time. That's just me.
Yeah, I use it for news. That's it. Oh, there's a Tony Khan media call tomorrow at 3 Eastern. Assume to promote ROH.
I would like
it's
to
ROH is this week.
Was that given to you via Twitter?
That was given to me via an email.
That's old, man. We don't do email here.
I was on the Shawn Michaels media call, Joel. Did you see that? Yeah.
No, I didn't listen to the Shawn Michaels media call this time.
Wow.
I know, but I just read all the comments, and I was, or not the comments, all the transcriptions, and that was
what story? What story? What was to you?
Best 2 hours in TV, Jeremy Lambert. Best 2 hours of TV, because it allowed me to put up that stupid video from us talking about AEW says this is the worst show ever. Go watch this train wreck.
I popped. I forget half the things that I say on this show. When you posted that clip, I was like, oh yeah, I did say that. I believe it too. I was like, who cares? All right, yeah, you got a great show. Tell me the show sucks.
If that 2003 Heroes of Wrestling DVD or pay-per-view, if that happened now during social media time, they would have billions of buys based on watch this train wreck. And people would watch it, and there would be papers written about it and discourse and everything.
Okay, what do you think was the actual like biggest kind of news comment? Maybe it wasn't even like a great like answer or anything, but the biggest kind of like question that you saw floating around and circulating from the Shawn Michaels media call.
I mean, it happened on Thursday. I don't remember anything.
Wow.
Just the 2 hour thing. That was really the big moment, because that line to me. I saw a lot of people talk about it, and I was like, no, this is no different than when people get on Tony Khan about this is the best show we've ever done, or this is the best, that's promoter speak, and that's fine. I don't mind it when Tony does it. I don't mind it when Shawn Michaels does it. You and I talk about, there's a line. It's not every show is the best show ever, but if you stand by your television product, you can say something like what Shawn said, which is, I will put my product up against anyone else's week to week. That, I think, is the right way to approach it, versus this week is the best week and this week is the best week. No, talk about your show as a whole and stand by it. So that's why, to me, the Shawn Michaels comment about best 2 hours of television, that kind of stands out to me, because I just saw a lot of people getting upset over something that promoter speak would make perfect sense.
All right, fine. I was trying to get you to put me over and you didn't. Thanks a lot,
Sorry,
Joel.
buddy. Can't do that.
I asked about Mackenzie Mitchell. That was my question.
You did. And he had a very good answer. You're right.
It was, didn't know anything, caught off guard. We wish Mackenzie the best. Didn't expect much, but you don't know if you don't ask. I had that question chambered, and that's the one that I got to ask, even though I was called on a little bit later. My other question is a free one for anybody. It's probably passed now. Maybe I should have given this out on last Thursday. Remember Brooks Jensen used Journey? It was a dark match. Yeah. I was going to ask about licensing music because NXT doesn't really do that. And I just wanted to know if Shawn had any more insight of like, hey, is it going to be a thing or not? Again, I expect the answer to be like, no, we just kind of did it, see how it played type of thing. Shawn doesn't know anything about anything, which rules, pops me all the time. But that was my other question. But yeah, I was on the Shawn Michaels media call. So I've talked about this. I don't get like starstruck when we talk to these wrestlers or anything. I said Darren McCarty was the one where I'm like, oh shit, 5-year-old me would not believe this at all. Shawn Michaels was the closest, and that even wasn't a real interview. It was, it was a media call. Shawn was probably the closest though, because I grew up big Shawn Michaels fan. So Shawn was probably the closest, but it was just the media call. I was like, all right, cool. I get to ask Shawn Michaels a question. If I did a proper interview with him, I'd probably feel a little bit more like, oh, this is really cool.
Yeah. And I get that. And I've had that feeling before with people I've been able to step into a room with and more one-on-one than like a media call or anything like that. Doing my first WWE PLE junket back in February was kind of that moment for me. It's like, I cover this, I talk about this, I don't get to have some one-on-one time where I get to ask, some silly and some interesting questions and get a little more info than I would normally have out of that. So no, I get it, I really do. But also we're just like, oh my god, it's this guy, oh my god. But internally, you might feel like a 10-year-old kid, and that's fine, that's fun.
I like giving flowers to people that we interview. When we spoke to like
Yes.
Brian Myers, I thought his work during the pandemic is really underrated. And I want to tell him that in person. When we talked to Kip Sabian, I credited him for like putting himself out there, doing media. I want to tell him that in person. Like some of these people, I don't know if that comes off markish or whatever. I just think that Janela said this, and we haven't run the article yet because I'm so behind on articles, but I was transcribing it over the weekend where Janela was just like, give me my flowers while I'm alive. And it's like, we should probably do that. And so, look, if you think that we come off markish because I tell these people, hey, you did really good work here, I appreciate that you do this kind of stuff. Like, I don't know, I'm not fanboying out over the stuff they are doing. I do think that it's good to positive reinforcement, giving flowers is nice to hear a lot of times from various people, just so that you understand that you are appreciated, or you understand that, hey, I saw this and I thought this was very good.
It comes down to the delivery and the content of the praise. If you tell this person, oh my god, every single one of your matches is the best match ever, then yeah, then it comes off a little bit panderous and a little bit markish. I think the ways that, and tap ourselves on the back, whatever, I think the ways that we approach our delivery and our praise is more rooted in like, we see what you're doing and that's good. Meanwhile, you also have to touch them with a little bit of negative feedback, or just ask them real important questions like, are you any better at Mario Kart since the last time when you were dog shit? That, to me, balances everything out.
You're just mean, Joel. You're just mean to our guests. That's really what it is.
I am very mean.
Yeah, well, I saw. Well, this sometimes is where we're at now. Is if you compliment someone, because you got to be unbiased journalist. Is what everybody wants. You can't show favor to them. It's very stupid. It's all stupid.
It is. Everything's stupid. It's wrestling.
Yeah.
Read
this super chat from Sidetown Spurs, and then let's get into Spicy Punk.
Yes, I'm into it. Speaking of football, soccer as it is in the U.S., Tony Khan's Fulham beat Helwani and Triple H's teams 5-0 each last week. At least he has that going for him. Did you see the post from MMA Hour where Helwani invited Tony to do a watch along of the Fulham versus whatever team Helwani supports? He wanted Tony to come and join him. They were going to, I guess, bury the hatchet or do something to make it right. I don't think you saw this, judging by your face.
Joel, I don't watch that show unless there is a wrestler on it and I have to do an interview. The only time I watched it otherwise was after the stuff with Tony and Helwani, when Helwani was at Elimination Chamber, and then that whole thing. So I had to. Okay,
I will say this: it was very much a. It was a. What's the word I'm thinking of? It's not a gotcha or anything like that. It was very hollow.
Stupid.
It was silly. It was stupid, but it was also very hollow because you know what day the team played Fulham? Take a wild guess.
A Wednesday.
You bet your ass it was a Wednesday. And I'm sitting there just being like, come on, Ariel, what are we doing here? I know what you're after. But anyway, listen, I'm glad Fulham's doing well. I'm sure that's making Tony happy. So
I'm trying to get Baron Corbin on this show to talk about his meeting with Taylor Swift at the Chiefs game, which didn't work, by the way. The power of Taylor Swift is apparently not as strong as the negativity of Baron Corbin, because the Chiefs lost after one of the best plays we've ever seen that did not count. I stand by, and I'm not the first person to say this. Did you see this, Joel? You probably didn't. But this is way more. People care about this way more than they do this Helwani Tony Khan stuff.
I mean, obviously.
Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs are down 3. Mahomes throws it to Kelsey. That's Taylor's boyfriend.
Yes.
Throws it to Kelsey. Kelsey catches it. He's at like the 20-yard line, 15-yard line or whatever. 2 people around him, about to get tackled. He laterals it back to Kadarius Toney. And he goes in and scores. It was not a set play. It was clearly a play where Travis Kelce was like, oh shit, I'm about to be tackled. Hold on, I see this guy wide open. Let me throw it back to him. And then Toney goes in and scores. And it didn't count because Toney was offsides. I'm with you, Wise Syllable. They called it right. I don't blame the refs for that. But this is my theory of just like, let cool shit happen. I don't care if it's against the rules. Let's just let awesome shit happen. Because that ruled.
This
and
is
now it's a nondescript play. It's like that play doesn't exist in history because it was offsides. And that sucks. But Baron Corbin's negativity and loserness, because he lost on Saturday, rubbed over to the Kansas City Chiefs and could not even overcome the power. The power of Taylor Swift could not overcome the stank of Baron Corbin. I'd like Baron Corbin on the show to talk about this.
I want him to come on the show and talk about meat, talk about cooking meats, and talk about nothing else but the meat.
Our Corbin interview would rule because it'd be no wrestling.
Yeah, and I'm sure he would love that because I think the last thing Baron Corbin likes to talk about is wrestling. We'll talk about boxing. I don't know. They call you a Golden Gloves boxing champion. Do you still have a pair of Golden Gloves that you can box in on NXT? I think that would be a fun title to put on the line.
No more titles, Joel.
More Golden Glove titles in wrestling.
Stop. No more titles.
None. Except for the title of most awkward promo goes to CM Punk and Shawn Michaels on Saturday at Deadline. Jeremy Lambert, CM Punk showed up at Deadline to the surprise of very few people. As reported by Fightful Select, he was in town. As reported by CM Punk Select, he had missed his flight, and he was all over the new Titan Towers. Shawn Michaels comes out to start the show at Deadline, and then out comes CM Punk wearing his Bret Hitman Hart hoodie, which I thought was hilarious, by the way. And they have a little chat in the ring, and just the finish of that was so awkward with the taking the selfie, and then randomly we go off the air for the cold open, and here we are. What do you think of this whole thing? Punk on Saturday, and then we'll talk about Punk on Friday.
Saturday was whatever. Like he set it up on Friday because he mentioned NXT and I'm gonna have a phone call with Shawn Michaels. And then he just happened to be in Bridgeport. He missed his flight. Can they not get him like a return flight?
No,
or
we
something?
talked about this. Just like it All In, when he didn't get picked up at the airport and he took the tube, he decided that instead of driving all the way home or getting a rebooked flight, he decided he'll go straight to the office and they'll take care of it there. He was already in Rhode Island, not too far from Connecticut. It was an easy ride. So he made the trip. He probably took public transit, took a Greyhound. Who knows?
So was Punk saying that he missed his flight? That was a shot at AEW for their trial. Is that what you're saying, Joel? That's what I'm hearing.
Everything is a shot, Jeremy. Everything CM Punk. He wakes up in the morning, takes a shot. He doesn't even drink.
He's straight edge.
He's straight edge. He doesn't drink. He's taking a shot first thing in the morning. No.
The NXT stuff was whatever. Like it was a campy little segment on the NXT show. That's it. I don't think anybody
NXT.
Yeah, I don't think anybody expects him to join NXT when he makes his decision live tonight. WWE RAW, 8 p.m. Eastern, USA Network. I don't think anybody expects him to join NXT. The promo on Friday, that's what people want to talk about because you've clickbaited this title here and called this a spicy SmackDown promo. People in the chat are very upset at your use of the spicy.
You're right. It's spicy as in like my wife, who is half Colombian and cannot tolerate pepper. It was that kind of spicy. It was white person spicy, Jeremy Lambert. Okay. We need to set the boundaries of the terms we use. And this is one of those times. Was it spicy? Well, spice, just like most cooking and like wrestling, that's subjective.
Jeff Elliott Driver saying it was ketchup.
Ketchup can
Yeah,
be spicy to some people.
it can be.
That's right.
You barbecue ketchup or something. I don't know. Mayo spicy.
There is spicy mayo out there.
It's super white. I like. I'm white and mayo. I have it on like sandwiches. That's about it. I can't overdo the mayo.
The paprika of promos.
Cinnamon spicy. You guys are some haters.
Damn.
Haters in the chat.
Can't believe that. Just like CM Punk making a reference to punching people, and you can't do that in 2023. You people just don't get it. You just don't. You just
Whataburger, ketchup. Okay. All right. Joel, what were your thoughts on this promo? Legitimate. What are your thoughts?
I liked it. The line that everyone's talking about. The reason why I liked it, and I said this to Kate because I said, I'm going to pull it up what I said, but I essentially said, like, this is a really good promo. It's fine. It's exactly what it's supposed to do. And it's not spicy, but it's making up for Monday. They clearly heard the entire wrestling universe be like, okay, sure, it was fine. But that was it. You know, they needed to do something just to make it a little more Punk and a little less, happy to be here. He did happy to be here on the Saturday show, and that was fine. And again, he said it was campy. So this is what happened. Phil Lindsay had retweeted someone who said that the crowd didn't react at all to his comment about the can't punch anyone in 2023. And I said, this was kind of my point on In the Weeds when CM Punk came back. I said a lot of WWE fans aren't paying attention to backstage stuff, let alone backstage stuff in a company that they may not be following. The Punk that is in WWE right now isn't recently fired from AEW CM Punk. It is 10 years removed from WWE CM Punk. And when he made the reference to punching someone backstage, he relayed it to what's going on in WWE, where Kevin Owens had just punched two guys backstage in the face. You can't do that. Was it good if you know, while still referencing something that's in WWE canon? I thought it was actually very, very smart, and it was walking the line without going too far. It was cute. And to me, that's why I was fine with it. I am looking at Punk through the lens of, I'm like the 10 years away from WWE. I'm not looking at it through the lens of, I got fired from AEW and now I have an axe to grind. That could come out later. But for now, the way they want you to see him is, I left WWE, I've mended fences, but I'm also a much better wrestler and a much more important wrestler than I was 10 years ago when I left. And that's the character we're trying to get here with CM Punk. What were your thoughts on Friday?
The line that didn't get a big reaction. Wrong audience for it.
Oh, yes.
You do that line in Chicago, that hits. You do that line in New York, it hits. Toronto, Bizarro World, it hits. Providence, Rhode Island on a tribute to the Troop special, not the audience for that line. That was very much, like you said, like, okay, it got the internet popping and everything. Like, oh, they said the thing. But like that audience did not care. And I don't even think it was it clearly was a thing of how many in the audience actually know about AEW, how many of the audience actually follow backstage stuff. I'll give you this. AEW, when they had the big backstage talent meeting, I don't even remember. It was like the first one. It was like a thing that it was like, oh, the first one. And the Acclaimed came out and Caster says the line of having a backstage talent meeting. I was there in the building for this. So it had to be like Pittsburgh or Ohio or something. No one reacted to this line. It's like AEW has a pretty online fan, but no one cared about this stuff because it just wasn't the market for it. I'm pretty sure it was an Ohio show. It was probably a Cleveland show. It just wasn't the market for it. That's what it was. Yeah, it was also like more self-deprecating than like a shot at anything. It's like, yeah, I did kind of punch people in the face. Like, who does that? Ha ha ha. Here's what I liked about this promo. I don't know if spicy. That's Pascal Siakam, basketball reference. I don't know if it was spicy. It was purposeful. And I liked that it had a purpose. He talked about, he mentioned all the names you would want him to mention. Why he might get along with them, why he might not get along with them, why he should sign with this brand, why he shouldn't sign with this brand. And his end goal was, I'm coming after that main event spot. Don't slip up or get got. coming after that WrestleMania 40 main event spot. It was purposeful. And I liked that. I saw a lot of people comparing it to the Collision return promos. Like, oh, it wasn't better than the Collision promo. It wasn't better than this, or it was better. It wasn't better. The Collision promo, he had the audience more engaged because it was Chicago, right? He delivers this same promo in Chicago. He's probably getting similar reactions. It's Punk in Chicago. They're going to react. What did I say about the Collision promo at the time, Joel? You might not remember. I'll catch you up. I liked it because it was clearly engaging, and it was just Punk kind of being CM Punk and stuff. But what I said at the time was, what does this mean? What is the purpose of this? And what turned out to be the purpose of that fucking promo, Joel? Nothing. Because he had this red bag, which we knew was the world title because he alluded enough to it. And then when he eventually did that reveal, the real world champion, the current world champion, did give a shit about it to the point that he didn't acknowledge it at all. He took shots at the Bucks to set up no feud, no match with the Bucks. He took, and then he just said basically, I'm CM Punk. I'm going to come out here and you're just going to have to, nobody's taking my spot. I'm one Bill Phil, blah, 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 blah. There was no purpose to that. It was a good promo. It was an engaging promo, but as a television standpoint, it didn't lead to anything. It didn't lead to anything. That's it. At least with this, not only is it going to hopefully lead to something where that promo on Collision, as we talked about at the time, we didn't know if it was going to lead to anything because the Bucks' relationship with Punk was not good at that time to where he should be taking these shots. With this promo, one, it'll hopefully lead to something. Two, they did the backstage segments. Hey, here's Punk and Cody. Here's Punk and Orton and LA Knight. Here's Punk and Owens. They did the backstage segments. It was good. It was very good.
The Collision promo, Jeff Valley Trevor thing led to him getting fired, I guess.
Yeah, true.
But that was the thing. It was, he came out and the Collision promo was different because it was an airing of grievances more than it was anything else. Whereas the promo on Friday was, okay, I've caught up with what I missed. These are important people. I want to fight them. Even the ones that might not want to fight me in the ring, in a wrestling match, not punch in the face backstage. These are people that I still want to have engagement with. And Kevin Owens was a prime example of that. That was the idea of just going and telling a story and having a story to tell. And this is why I go back to this version of Punk in WWE works, because he's just there to tell the stories and have the matches. He's not there to run anything other than his own work. And he has people to work with, whether that's talent, producers, writers, whatever. There is a team there for him to work with, and therefore it's collaborative. CM Punk seems like, can't tell you for sure, seems like a collaborator, and he wants to have a good story that, yes, revolves around him. It's his creative, it's his story, but it has multiple people taking it from different angles and working on it with him. That's what works here. In AEW, that didn't necessarily exist. And if he was just told, go out and talk, here's a microphone, go do what you do best, that doesn't always work. And that's kind of what the Collision promo was. It was him going out and trying to shoot himself into a work, which he tried multiple times. And the people that he was trying to get into a work with were like, no, we don't want to do that. And that was that. So now he comes out on Friday. He mentions everyone that he wants to work with. And like you said, Jeremy, he appears on screen with everyone he just said he wanted to work with and will be interacting with over the next 4 months at least. And then this Monday, tonight, in Cleveland, where he told Vince McMahon to stick it up his ass and left the company 10 years ago, he's going to come out, maybe reference that, and then also say, I'm signing with Raw, and it's poetic justice because we're mending fences that I do it in the building where I said I was done. Well, I'm not done, and I'm going to go and be in the Royal Rumble, and I'm going to win, and blah, 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 and we're going to go to WrestleMania. Or it's going to be he challenges Seth to a match at the Royal Rumble, and we have the entire holiday season plus January to get there. So, again, I'm more invested in the story now than I have been, since Monday, when people were like, well, that wasn't much. Monday made sense, by the way. The last Monday's Raw, the 5-minute mission statement promo, it made sense. if he had come out and said the things that he said on Friday, but last Monday, that would have felt way too soon because people were still feeling good and people were still excited to see him back. Now we had a full week. People were processing. Some people were happy, some people were not, and everyone had their feelings about how the promo was on Monday and what he should or shouldn't be. And I'm sure people were listening and relaying that back and forth. And then they made it their own. And I think that's why Friday's promo was a lot stronger. It's because they had the feedback. And that's something that, that both companies do, is that they do see the feedback and they implement it based on what's going on in their company at the time. And that's what happened on Friday.
People were mad about Monday's promo because they sat through all of Raw and then they got 5 minutes of Punk. That's why people were mad.
And if they subscribed to Fightful Select, the best $5 in the business, they would have seen the entire rundown that said CM Punk last segment, Seg 16, CM Punk, and it was going to be 5 minutes. People tweet at me. What do you want to talk about the power of social media? Tweet at me when CM Punk is on, and people would have done it. Instead, yes, people got angry. People got mad because they couldn't find the rundown that's readily available everywhere.
It is, I don't know the word for it, ironic, dumb, silly, hilarious.
Wrestling, so it's dumb, but it's okay.
The people that were mad that sat through all of Raw are your online fans, right? Because those are the only people complaining because they're online. So they were mad that they sat through all of Raw and all they got was the, "Oh, I'm home" comment. Those are the same people who, when Punk says the punching line, are like, "It got no reaction." It's like, yeah, it's all the same audience. The fans that were happy, that were probably like satisfied with the "I'm home, I got to see CM Punk on Raw," that's the same fans that weren't reacting to the punching in the face line. That's the larger audience of fans here, not the online fans who are, "Let me complain because I sat through 3 hours of Raw for I'm home. Haha, look, CM Punk gets no reaction when he says this AEW line."
Yeah. That's it. It's just
It's all
very
stupid. Stay
it's all
offline is what I'm
stupid.
trying to tell people. Stay
Go
offline.
just
Watch this show. But
watch this show. Get the good news from us. Get the good chat from us. We'll catch you up on what people are saying that's very silly on the internet. Jeff, I watch neither shows, right. Suckers. Honestly. Yeah. You can also catch up. Do what Steven Jensen does. Catch up on socials. Okay. He's catch up on socials. And by doing a show with Jeremy Lambert, where you can ask Jeremy the questions of what happened on Raw that Monday night, and he'll let you know.
Yeah, that's basically what he does. It's like, I don't know, what happened on Raw? What are we talking about?
Oh, and then we talk about it, or you guys talk about it. I watch it. All I want to do is sit in that big chair behind me that has an Ernie doll on it now that my in-laws got for my child. All I want to do is sit in that chair and play video games and not watch wrestling. But I can't because my days revolve around mornings talking about wrestling with you, and then evenings watching the wrestling that we eventually then have to talk about.
You don't have to do this show, Joel.
I like doing this show. Okay. I don't like watching wrestling. We've already established how this works.
Fair. We have Punk tonight on WWE RAW. I'm with you that he's probably going to be like, 10 years ago, I left WWE RAW, was supposed to be at this building. 10 years later, I'm back on Raw, and I feel like he's going to sign with Raw. That's my guess.
Makes perfect sense. If he goes to SmackDown, it'd be hilarious. Randy just being like, hey, what the hell, man? what? I thought we did this to get me away from him. What the hell is this?
It seems like for now, who knows? Plans can change. People can change. If you're not changing after 10 years, then what are we doing? He's doing well. He's playing nice. Everybody's happy. I really like the Cora Jade segment from NXT. I know it's a digital exclusive, but like him running into Cora Jade and telling her he's proud of her and April's proud of her and she should be proud of herself. That was a sweet little moment, even though Cora Jade is a prick on television.
He's a bad guy. What is this?
Yeah.
Oh my God. We're going to talk about Deadline in a minute because I thought there was a lot of really good stuff there. But when Izzy Dame made her appearance and they shut the cage door on Roxanne Perez, and she just says, "It is what it is." I was laughing. I was howling. Of all the things you could say, that's the line you go with.
I respected it. I respected it. Is what it is. Love it.
It was the
Absolutely
delivery.
love it.
Go back and find it because it's gonna be memed forever in like the wrestling diva stan community because it was a moment in time.
It ruled. It ruled. Deadline was a good show.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you ended up rewatching of it. Since
I watched all of it last night for the first time because obviously Saturday I was at Impact.
So I thought it was a good show. I like the men's Iron Survivor challenge. You can't do this every year because you can do the match every year, but the finish, the way they booked it, where Trick Williams had no falls with like 2 minutes left and then ended up winning it. I liked that because like I was sitting there as a viewer and I saw Trick Williams at 0 with like 2-3 minutes left. I'm like, what? I thought Trick was getting a push. Like, what are they? He has no falls in this, and then he gets the 4 quick falls. Like, oh, that's really good. That was good how they did the quick little comeback story there. Braun Breaker coming in, running through people and everything. I like the Iron Survivor Challenge. I don't know how you feel about it, Joel, but I like it. I like the Iron Survivor Challenge. I think it's a cool little concept. And yeah, Trick Williams winning it. Comes out, confronts Dragunov at the end. Melo's coming up behind him, and also now Melo is in the U.S. title tournament where we were both wrong on that. I don't know. I don't know if I don't like it. I would have liked Tyler Bate because that was going to be a call up. Axiom Frazier may have been a call up. All right,
let's talk about that in a minute.
Right.
Let's talk about that in a sec. I do want to go back and just talk about the Iron Survivor Challenge. So I largely agree with what you were saying. With you can't do that every year. But Trick was the right guy to do that with in the men's Iron Survivor Challenge, where you have him basically run and like get all of these random pinfalls towards the end of the match. Excuse me, I'm about to cough. But when he does that, because he had built up this, like look at who he's in the ring with. He's in the ring with a lot of former champions and a lot of like experienced wrestlers. And he was the least experienced of the bunch. Like even Josh Briggs is a former evolved champion, I know, but I'm speaking in terms of like experience and having won. He won, like, again, Briggs is a former tag team champion too, both UK and Maine. So the idea here is that Trick won the North American Championship for all of 4 days, whereas everyone else in that ring has been some sort of champion somewhere for an extended amount of time. So it made perfect sense to come out and have him be the ultimate underdog, even though he doesn't look that way. And he has just a hell of a run, ends up winning in the most ridiculous of ways. And it was the same. And then on the women's side, we'll talk about that in a second. I like the way they did that too, because they made Blair Davenport look like a real asshole, and it was perfect for her and the way that they played out the last few minutes. But yeah, Trick got it. The timing was right. Everything worked out, and it was really well told. Do you want to talk about the women's, or do you want to talk about Melo real quick?
I want to talk about Dijak, who ain't won shit.
Poor Dijak.
Because you said that all these former champions.
He's won a Ring of Honor. Dijak's a former Ring of Honor World Television Champion, is he not?
According to who?
According to Christopher Dijak, Dominic Dijakovic. Hold on, we're going to look this up.
I'm telling you you're wrong because I have it pulled up right now.
Dijak never won the Ring of Honor. Oh, okay, he didn't. Fine, whatever. Dijak is just Dijak. He's massive.
He's T-Bar. T-Bar is the greatest championship anybody could ever win, holding the title.
He is the T-Bar title. Yes, the T-Bar title. Either way, everyone there has had some sort of accomplishment in NXT.
Except
Dijak. Dijak has the name change down. He's had multiple names in WWE. He's been Dominic Dijakovic. He's been Dijak. He's been Chris Dijak. He's been Chris Dijakovic, and he's been T-Bar, the most important one of all. So
T-Bar.
There you go.
T-Bar.
T-Bar. T-Bar. Could you imagine going into a bar and just being like, T-Bar? And him being like, yeah, buddy. But now he'd probably punch you in the face. That's just who he is. So Trick wins. He gets the
Fightful Select subscriber, T-Bar.
That's right. Posted the article himself. Good on him. Oh, spoiled the show for myself. Yeah, so now we're going to get Trick versus the NXT champion Ilya Dragunov at New Year's Eve on January 2nd. And that's exciting. I'm looking forward to that. And then on the women's side, we made reference to it. Lash Legend had a great showing. Blair Davenport won to personally not I wasn't surprised by that. It made sense considering you've got Lyra Valkyria, who's very much the baby face, and the most heelish heel you've got right now is Blair. It was her time to shine. They wanted to do something with her months ago, but I think it was injury or visa. One or the other kept her away for a little while, and now she's back, and now there's an opportunity for her. Again, I love the end of the match where she's rolling out of the ring and staying away from everyone, and she's just got the last fall and she wins. I thought that was really well done. It was a good Iron Survivor match. Probably the last good idea in terms of match structures that WWE has had, stipulations, I should say, is the Iron Survivor Challenge.
Blair winning was the right call because Lyra, big baby face coming off the Becky stuff. Blair is the mystery assailant NXT attacker. We had Nikita return on Tuesday. Now Cora's back. So you're not only establishing your next challenger in Blair, you're establishing feuds branching from that as well with Cora Jade and Nikita Lyons, their returns as well. So I thought that was good stuff. That was a good show overall. Mello and Lexus King was like fine. The cage match, I wasn't super into that either.
I was a little confused, or maybe not confused, but when we saw the report from Fightful Select, they were working on a few spots and they didn't really do any of them. That kind of led me to believe that whatever spots they had planned were either nixed or they said, maybe we shouldn't try this tonight, whatever it is. It just kind of got thrown by the wayside.
It wasn't a feud that I don't think stipulated a cage match.
That's fair.
Is where I'm kind of with it. Cause like the cage comes down and my wife doesn't watch NXT, but she's like, oh, the main event's up now, the cage match. And I'm like, I had to even like think for a second. I'm like, no, it's a women's match. It's Roxanne and Kiana James. And like, I had to think of like, why is this a cage match? Like, what are we doing? Why does this need to be in a cage? And then they do the thing that I hate in cage matches anyway, where somebody interferes with the door and Izzy Dame. It is what it is. Bonks her with the cage door and stuff. So it didn't need to be a cage. Yeah, the Roxanne Perez booking is something.
I don't know what they're doing with her. And I've been saying like they were going to put her on this renewed path, but I mean, are they waiting for Cora Jade to win the title in however many weeks? I have to assume it's the Vengeance Day match is going to be Cora versus Lyra Valkyria. And that'll be maybe the changing of the guard there. And then maybe by WrestleMania weekend for Stand and Deliver, you do Roxanne and Cora, which has been something they've been wanting to do, but then not doing, like pulling it back and forth. And maybe this is Roxanne gets the huge win at Stand and Deliver in Philly at WrestleMania weekend, yada, yada. And then out comes AJ Lee and she raises both their hands and says, I'm proud of both my girls. And I'm kind of saying this tongue in cheek, but like, is that what we're doing?
Nah, that idea sucks.
Maybe backstage AJ Lee says these are both my girls.
Nah, Cora needs to beat the shit out of AJ Lee if she comes out.
Okay, fine, honestly. Let's do it.
Like I don't need everybody happy go lucky, let's have a moment type of thing.
I agree. But I do like the
stories out of this.
Yeah, but I do like the idea of doing Roxanne versus Cora Jade at Stand and Deliver, which is something that honestly I'm pretty sure I pitched last year too, and then it didn't happen. So, or maybe it was the SummerSlam, whatever show they were doing. It was Heat Wave or whatever show they were going to do for that particular week. But it would make sense if Roxanne Perez is your next big tentpole talent in NXT. It would make sense that she walks out with that NXT Women's Championship at their biggest PLE of the year, which is Stand and Deliver, where they have the most crossover audience as well, potentially.
The Roxanne stuff has been weird. Jeff Driver said it's been trash into the depression angle, and like,
yeah,
it is. Like, it has been. Like, that story made sense, but then it was she doesn't overcome, and she just loses, and she continues to lose. Like, I hope they don't. She's gonna be so depressed. She's a bad person now, because I don't think that sends a great message. This is why trying to blend reality and these real life themes into wrestling rarely work, because wrestling's not good at understanding this stuff. Even if the people who want to do it have good intentions, wrestling just doesn't do it well. They just don't. And we like, how many examples do we have of the past just months of this?
Jeremy, if I had a roll of quarters for every time they failed telling these stories,
like it doesn't work. So yeah, it's not great with the Roxanne stuff. Hopefully they got an idea. Like, she's young, she's young. I don't like it when people are like, this person's misused, this person's buried, blah 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 blah, when like they're 21 years old and they have a long career ahead of them, type of thing. But at the same time, like, you also got to know what you have in the moment. And they have something with Roxanne, and they ain't doing a whole lot with her right now.
Don't worry, Jeff. We're going to talk about that segment you're mentioning in the chat soon.
Talk about Carmelo.
I want to get to, we'll get there. I just want to get to these super chats. Will Chisholm someone saying, as a person who went through NXT 2.0, I'm happy for Trick Williams. He's crazy over now, and I'm happy Lash looked good also. Absolutely. The 2.0 experiment as a whole didn't work, but as an idea of we need better synergy and better character development for our wrestlers, that part worked. But 2.0 as it was just not good. I'm glad that they've moved forward from that, but they've kept little things that have worked for them. There you go. And then Will Chisholm also said, I'm ready for Cody versus CM Punk, with their promos popping themselves saying AW stuff to each other. I am looking forward to Punk and Cody not necessarily doing too inside baseball, but talking about like biting off more than they can chew, or preferring to be wrestlers, or EVP comments, just nothing salacious, just more fun tongue-in-cheek stuff. I don't know if they do it, because I don't need to see like, oh, fuck AEW. Like, I very rarely drop F-bombs on the show, but like, I don't need that. I don't need to, but I wouldn't mind a funny comment here and there, because like they do on an AEW with WWE stuff all the time, and sometimes it's funny and sometimes it's not. I like it when it's funny.
I don't know if Cody is gonna be like, I don't think Cody wants to take a shot at the Bucks or anything like that. Like, he still got friends over there. Cody does. I mean, I know Punk has friends over there, but not. I don't know how much friend crossover they're having, type of thing. So I don't know if Cody will poke fun at his time as being an EVP, and maybe that's where it comes, less of like the Bucks. I don't think we're gonna see CM Punk being like, of all the people over there, you were the one that could manage a target. I don't think we're gonna get a line like that from CM Punk.
That's because they'd just be like, oh, well, maybe not Target, but I think you would do really well at a Walmart, where you can exclusively find the best WWE figures now available, or the Kmart, or wherever it is that they
Cody
partner
will
with.
shill whatever you need him to shill.
Unless it's a Stardust figure, at which point he will hide it.
Nah, he'd chill that.
Did you not see that?
No, I did.
You did? Okay, good. I want to make sure. That was very funny. That was a little moment that if you know, you know. It was very good. Anyway, so Melo got announced last night by Shawn Michaels in a digital exclusive that he will be the NXT entrant into the US title tournament. A lot of people are excited about this, and I understand the reverse sentiment that, okay, it's an NXT star joining this tournament. Is it really going to mean anything, or is it going to be a storyline beat, or is Melo really going to go far into this thing? Like, what's the importance here, if any? What did you think when you saw the video that Melo's joining the SmackDown US title tournament?
I'm happy for Melo. I don't think it's bad that he's part of this, but I'm a little just confused, and I'll let it play out. But Melo wasn't gonna be my choice, because it does seem, I don't think an NXT person is winning this. And so if they're not gonna win it, I wouldn't have one of my top guys who's involved in the biggest angle, the biggest story on NXT right now, being randomly thrown in this tournament just to like lose. Because remember when like Melo lost to Finn Balor when Melo was the champion, and like, good match and everything, but like, was that necessary? Did that really accomplish anything? So if Melo goes out there, facing Grayson Waller makes sense, because he like they have history in NXT. Melo's 2-0 against him in singles matches. It's like, okay, this is a match that like makes sense and everything. But like, if he's just gonna go up there to lose to Grayson Waller, and by the way, I thought whoever they were gonna have for this tournament was gonna lose to Grayson Waller. I thought that was kind of the point, so they could set up the Waller and Owens match. So Melo just going up there to lose to Grayson Waller is a kind of a moment for me.
What if Owens costs Waller the match?
And then we get okay, but then is Kevin Owens losing to Austin Theory?
What if Waller costs Owens the match?
Fuck that. I don't want Austin Theory winning shit.
I mean, eventually you might have to do it, and then you have Melo beating Austin Theory, right? Because that would be the next step on that. I'm not looking at the brackets.
Yeah, that's what it would be.
You put Melo to the finals, have Melo have a strong showing, and then play out whatever you need to play out with the who took out Trick Williams.
But who do we think wins this tournament? Logan Paul's the champion. Kevin Owens made the most sense to like win this tournament.
Okay, I gotta pull it up. Is Bobby Lashley the only person we're not talking about right now?
Lashley and Escobar advanced on Friday, but like neither of them make a lot of sense as Logan Paul's next challenger.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
Like, unless Austin Theory is for some reason going to win this thing and then Logan Paul beats him in 2 seconds, which be hilarious, but that's a shitty way to get to an Austin Theory and Logan Paul match.
So this is a very important question because the last 2 weeks, Bobby Lashley has not been portrayed as a heel. He has very much been portrayed as a babyface. It made sense on Friday because you had Tribute to the Troops and Bobby has a past with the armed forces, and that's been talked about for forever with Bobby Lashley. And so does, I think Montez Ford does as well, does he not? Yeah. So it made sense on Friday for them to play into that, and the Troops would then, they would support their guy. But the week before that, when Bobby came out, they were cheering for him too. So Bobby Lashley versus Logan Paul, that's an interesting matchup. Like that's at the Royal Rumble. If Lashley, no one's expecting Lashley to be, winning the Rumble, and he could pull double duty if they wanted him to. So I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind Lashley versus Logan Paul. That's a fun matchup. It's different. And then Logan Paul has to break the Lashley finish.
Yeah, that's a weird match. Like I don't think it'd be bad or anything because Logan does what he does very well and Lashley's good. That's not your typical Logan Paul match. That's a very stylistic change for Logan. I'd be very interested to see how that looks. I do think Lashley's a babyface, by the way, because I think Karrion Kross is a heel. So I'm just gonna play the odds here and say Lashley's a babyface.
Yeah, and I think I would be invested in a Carmelo Hayes versus Bobby Lashley matchup in the finals, especially if Melo puts up a good fight and Lashley beats Melo, who is closer in build and size to Logan Paul. And then you can tell the story of like, is this what's going to happen, at the Royal Rumble after let's say Lashley wins it, goes all the way, beats Carmelo. And I think a lot of people would be okay with that because Lashley is tenured, powerful. People like him. Like if it works, it works. And people wouldn't be upset that Melo had a strong showing. He doesn't need to win the entire thing if he goes up and loses in the finals to a guy like Lashley, who then goes on to have a match with Logan Paul.
I think Melo's got to beat Grayson. That's my biggest thing right off the bat is Melo has to at least beat Grayson. And then looking at the next round, he shouldn't lose to Austin Theory. I'm okay if Melo beats Grayson, has a competitive match with Kevin Owens, and loses. Don't love it, but they love to do the competitive match stuff. Doesn't hurt you too much. So I'm okay with that. And then I'm okay if Melo does beat Austin Theory and then loses to Lashley in the finals in a competitive match. I'm okay with that as well. My 2 biggest fears are losing to Grayson Waller in the first round, because if you're going to do that, just fucking call up anybody and have them lose that match. or losing to Austin Theory. Because if you're going to do that, just call up anybody and lose to Austin Theory. I don't think it should be an established NXT guy, a former NXT champion, a person who is involved in the biggest storyline in NXT right now. Nathan Frazier, Axiom, accomplishes the same thing that Carmelo Hayes accomplishes in that role. But if you want to give Carmelo a national television rub, since these matches are on SmackDown, you want him to beat Waller, have a competitive match against Kevin Owens and lose, beat Waller, beat Theory, have a competitive match against Lashley and lose. A little more sold on that.
Yeah, I think I like that we've kind of talked around the ideas of this tournament being more than just KO running the gauntlet and winning. There is more to the Kevin Owens, Austin Theory, Grayson Waller thing. I think they will do a 2-on-1 match, or maybe KO gets a friend. Maybe KO's friend is CM Punk.
What if before Melo's match on SmackDown, he is laid out?
Okay, by Trick.
Who done it now?
Oh no, not Lexus King.
Who attacked now Carmelo Hayes on SmackDown?
I would actually, sorry, I'm going to go back to what I just said. I know I just joked CM Punk. You want Melo and KO versus Waller in Theory, because Melo will have been fully involved in all of this tomfoolery, and he could just be like, I don't like the way you're playing my friend KO. I want to beat your, I'm going to beat your ass, Waller in Theory. KO and Melo versus Waller in Theory around the holiday season.
They're doing this tournament for the holiday season, Joel.
When does the tournament end?
Well, they're doing more semifinal matches, or I guess semifinal. I mean, let me look at my handy dandy calendar here. So December 15th is the two matches this week. December 22nd, I assume, is the finals. Are they doing a show December 29th? Is there a live SmackDown December 29th?
They'll probably do a taping, won't they? Like a double tape. I think that's what was reported.
Maybe. So the finals.
No, because they're doing the holiday tour, so they could be live. I don't know. Let me double check.
Okay. So the finals could be December 29th. The finals could be January 5th, the first SmackDown of the new year. They haven't established when the finals are, as far as I know.
So they're in Vegas on the 29th, but it's a house show. So they're probably going to double tape on the 15th, which is this Friday, for the 15th and the 22nd. And then we're a week off. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe they're taping. They're not going to tape 3 weeks.
I don't think they're going to take 3 weeks. Then you got New Year's Evil, though, on January 2nd. And that theoretically is going to be a big beat in the Melo and Trick storyline, because Trick is challenging for the title against Dragunov.
There is a holiday tour. It starts on the 26th, please.
Yeah, they always do the MSG show after.
Yeah, there's MSG. They're doing Vegas because I saw that. That's on the 29th, and there's a whole other bunch of shows. It's just the live holiday tour here. I got it open. So New York, Baltimore. This is day after. Oh, they're doing 2 shows on on the 26th. New York and Baltimore. 27th is 2 shows, Boston and Detroit. The Thursday, the 28th, is in Houston. The 29th is Vegas. The 30th is Inglewood, California. And then they're in San Diego for Raw on the Monday.
All right. So I don't know when you're going to do this tag team match that you're over here pitching, Joel.
Well, you got all of January at that point. So going into the Raw.
Melo's going to be very involved in the Trick stuff at that point.
Not for a few weeks. I mean, it's
January 2nd is New Year's Evil.
I understand that.
And Dragunov. That's a big beat.
Is that when you reveal it, or is again, it's a plane ride. You show up and you either tell the story, or you find out that it wasn't actually Melo and it's somebody else. I don't know who. Melo makes a lot of sense, but also, does it have to be Melo? Could it be just more Descent, but you can't play around with that too long.
At some point, you gotta pay this thing off.
I agree.
I don't know how much longer they're going to try to get away with, because theoretically, I don't know if Trick's going to win the title at New Year's Evil. I don't. But I think the stand and deliver match is Trick and Melo. So you still got a ways to get to there on this. So you're I don't know how long you can prolong. Okay, here's the attacker, because you still got to do other beats in the story to get to the title match to get to Stand and Deliver.
Okay, I got it. So the attacker is the devil from AEW, because they have the new shirt, the I Am Him shirts. So really, the devil takes off his mask. It's Carmelo Hayes. He is now on SmackDown. He's on AEW programming. He's on NXT. He is everywhere, and he took out everyone. The Acclaimed. He took out Jay White. He took out Trick. It all started with Trick. And then now we got to play everything out. Melo's going to be busy in 2024. Good for him.
He's going to be working 5 days a week, basically.
Damn. Listen, there are going to be no house shows, so you may as well get him on the road elsewhere.
Yeah, he's on all the shows. Bless him.
But yeah, they gotta play off whatever the who attract Trick Williams gimmick is. They got to get through that, because, like you said, they can't wait on it too long.
I guess we'll see when it comes to how they're going to utilize Melo in this tournament. I will either be very mad on, I guess, next Monday's show, depending on how they are booking, this Friday's show with Melo and Grayson Waller. Tune in next Monday to see how mad I am. It could be that I'm not mad at all because Melo wins and like advances, and I'm just like, oh yeah, good call.
I think they're going to run Melo to the finals. I do believe that, just because everything we talked about, it feels like the KO, Waller, and Theory stuff, they're all going to cancel each other out somehow, with Melo in the middle of it, and Melo's going to benefit from that story. Get to the finals, lose to Lashley versus Logan Paul at the pay-per-view for the title.
And that has some merit, Lashley and Melo, because remember that weird backstage, not weird, but that backstage segment. Yeah. The photo, but they're also, maybe I'm misremembering and just only thinking the photo. There was, remember when all the SmackDown people or all the NXT people were on SmackDown because they were in like Florida and stuff, and there was that little backstage with Melo and Lashley and everybody,
and Trick, so, like, and everyone.
You can play that up too. So
and then the respect is there because it's two baby faces going after it. You have the competitive match that we just talked about, and Lashley wins, raises Melo's hand and says, if you want in, this is Melo's full-time call-up. That's the other thing too. We're talking about the who attack Trick thing. That's where you have to be careful with what's going where. Lashley could be like, when you're ready, I'm ready for you, and you can join us.
I'm okay if that's the route they go. If they fucking have Melo lose to Austin Theory. If Austin Theory wins a single match in this tournament, I'm going to be very mad online.
As one should be.
Very, very mad online. All right, there's some super chats. I'm going to read this super chat because we're going to talk more AEW stuff with an angle people are not happy with. With all the talk about AEW's promotion marketing, do you guys think operating out Daly's place for a year, riding out the wave from All Out 2021 signings, left a neglected hole in AEW's logistics? No, because they were doing good stuff coming out of All Out, and then for a chunk of last year. I don't know what I tweeted this, and I stand by it. I stand by all my dumb tweets, but this one wasn't dumb. This one was legit. Winter is Coming is on Wednesday. I said on this show after Sting's retirement tour, when we were trying to plot out like, oh, when is Sting going to wrestle? I'm like, oh, well, you got to have the match at Winter is Coming. You're in Texas. They're always in Texas. Winter is Coming is synonymous with Sting because that's when he debuted for the promotion. You got to have a Sting match on this show. Not only is Sting not having a match, which a little bit explainable because all of his matches have featured Darby Allin. Darby, I believe, is doing Everest stuff right now, so maybe they don't do that. But they're not even advertising Sting right now. That's baffling to me that they don't have a Sting appearance locked in for Winter is Coming. Like there should be a huge appearance for Sting that it should be promoted long before 2 days right now, long before 2 days on this. And then the rest of like AEW logistics and marketing and stuff, they used to do a good job with this stuff. I don't know what happened. I do think losing Cody Rhodes was a bigger blow than just on television, because I think Cody, and it's been proven through his interviews and just through the work, Cody does a lot of shit that goes beyond bell to bell and television red light to television red light. Cody does a lot of backstage stuff, a lot of coordinating, a lot of media, a lot of extra work that some wrestlers, not all wrestlers, want to do right now. And I think QT Marshall was doing a lot of that stuff right now. And now he's out. And I don't know who's replacing for a lot of that. I don't know if Christopher Daniels, if that's part of his role in coordinating that. I know they have a media relations department, who gets who in order and everything. But sometimes you do need a wrestler to lead by example on that. And right now, Jericho is probably the guy leading by example. But Jericho, even in media, is part of the Jericho universe. And I will say this, Chris Jericho is very much like, he does a good job of promoting and does a good job of like getting stuff out there. The problem is it's Chris Jericho, and that always doesn't play in the best lights when he's just running his own podcast. And one podcast is, hey, cool, here's a wrestler interview, and the next podcast is conspiracy theories, where you say some stuff.
It's true. I was listening to him talk to Frankie Kazarian, by the way. It was a really good interview they did. And going back to why Solable asking about running Daly's Place for a year, Kazarian and Jericho had a long conversation about the Daly's Place time, and he said that was a seminal time for AEW's development because everyone was basically stuck together because it was a pandemic. No one was coming in. They couldn't have fans, or at least if they did, there were very few fans. And everyone, they were taping late into the night multiple times in a day. Like, it was a very busy time that everyone was around each other. They talked about the fourth floor crew, where everyone would go up to the fourth floor of Daly's Place, where they would have catering and drinks and stuff after the show, and everyone would be in their own little corners. Stuff like that was really cool. It kind of showed that they had that camaraderie, and then things changed once they hit the road again, because I don't think AEW as a company and as a whole had that mentality of being on the road and operating on the road, because they had spent so much time, more time than they had been opened. They had spent more time at Daly's Place running shows in one place at a time. So no, I don't think that they should stick at Daly's Place, but it's worth saying that it was a helpful thing for their talent at the time. On the Winter is Coming side of things, their entire card is already up and posted on their socials. Like, you know how we pull from the,
they'll still announce stuff.
They will, but like, this is already pretty much the usual setup of stuff. Like, they've got the Gold League matches, they've got Page versus Strong, we'll hear from Samoa Joe, we'll hear from the Golden Jets, and then Riho versus Ruby Soho is there, the Von Erichs are there. Basically, like, everything is already on that card. There could be stuff added, like you said, but I don't think they're going to add Sting, and I agree, it's a little weird given the circumstances of the timing and where they are.
That's such a big miss. And this is where AEW, even before the pandemic and then coming out of the pandemic, they didn't miss on this stuff. It's like, oh, this card, TK tradition, right? This card is in this town. This person's going to be there. This card goes by this name. We're going to definitely have this on the show. And not having Sting at Winter is Coming is a big miss. And maybe do something on Rampage like that. That's Rampage.
They did something on Rampage, and everyone was upset at the guy he said it with. He didn't say it.
It's not Winter is Coming Rampage. I do think SP3 is a point of like purchasing ROH and no real plan on that. It's also not only ROH, but the addition of Collision as well. It's like you were running one television show a week at the beginning. Then you added Rampage coming out of the pandemic. But for the most part, you were taping Rampage with Dynamite, so it wasn't that big of a hassle. But then you added Collision. Collision nixed their live events, because remember the house rules, they ran like 2 shows, but they were going to run those on the weekends, and they couldn't do those anymore because of Collision, so they didn't do weekend shows on that. Then you throw in ROH on there, which honestly, I think Collision hurt more than ROH because ROH you now tape with Collision, or ROH you could have just kept doing at studio and everything. The addition of Collision seemed to mess up a lot of the logistics, and then you have your Collision team and your Dynamite team. You don't go to the small towns anymore. We didn't talk about this, but Mark Shapiro talking about like cutting out live events and like, do we need those B and C towns and everything? It's like, well, one, they're doing really well for WWE right now. I don't know if they're money losers because it's still like cost to run all of that stuff. I don't know if they're making money back, but like people, when you don't run big shows and you don't go to these small towns and you can afford to just run these smaller shows and those have lasting impacts on people. Is like, oh shit, they're coming here to North Dakota to run a show. This is cool. This is the only time I might get to see them because they're in town. It's like, well, you ain't running no television show with North Dakota to draw 500 people. But for a live event show, sure, you can do it.
What is this, WCW 1995?
Adam Cole, by the way, like was a go-to guy for interviews. I understand that. But you got other people. The main, I've talked about this like a million times on this show. The main people doing media for AEW have been like Saraya, Jericho, Paul White, Mark Henry, WWE people. Largely,
what do they all have in common?
Yeah, largely WWE people and largely people that aren't heavily featured on television. There's no reason why Kenny Omega should not be doing more media hits. There's no reason why Ricky Starks should not be doing more media hits. And Ricky does media, Kenny does media. They should be in the local. Miro has actually been doing a lot of local media. Lana, CJ Perry has been doing a lot of local media. And I guess they want to use these people because it's like, you know them from WWE. But like, you got to get your own people out there and people who are you're actually featuring on television way more. Danielson's does a lot of local media and stuff. Again, all WWE holdovers with what I assume the theory is, oh, well, they're former WWE people. They will be known to the local media. It's like, well, the reason they're known is because they were doing this media also with WWE. And so you got to put them out there. MJF does a lot of great media, usually when it's New York. I don't know why. What would we talk about with the women's roster, Joel? Like, let's pick 8 people, build around them. You pick 5 people who are relatively featured on television, and you just put them and you have them do media. If they don't like it, tough shit. It's part of your job. It's part of your promotion.
Now, here's the thing. If you pick those 5 people, they also have to be 5 people that are commonly featured on your television.
Oh, I said
that's something but I'm saying sometimes with AEW, that doesn't stick around very long. And that is something that, we've talked about, and it's a frustration of a lot of people, is that there's a lot of herky-jerky stop and start when it comes to certain characters. And if you're trying to develop some new characters and develop some new talents, you can't have them on TV for 2 weeks and then have them cycled out for 2 months. You need to have them featured prominently week to week. And that's why I'm saying these 5 names that you pick, they have to be names that you continue to push and are on a journey and have some semblance of connection to the company and to the fans.
Okay, well, Continental Classic, for 6 weeks, these people are going to be involved. So John Moxley, Swerve, who does these guys, by the way, are doing more of the bigger hit media, which is good. I don't know how it fully is in local media. I find a lot of local interviews and don't see these people doing that. Moxley, Swerve, and I think Jay White's actually good at media as well. Those are your 3. There's 3. Every single Dynamite taping, you get one of them, 2 of them doing media rounds. For the Saturday show, you have Danielson, Brody King. I think Brody King's actually good at media, by the way. I've listened to enough Brody King interviews to know he handles himself very well.
He's really good, yeah.
Danielson, Brody King, Eddie's good at media. Eddie might say some stuff that doesn't promote your product as well as you want to promote your product. Because Eddie is very just like, watch the show, don't watch the show. I don't give a shit. I'm going to be there beating somebody up. Like, maybe you don't want that, but that's the charm of Eddie.
Well, well,
yeah, the charm for a lot of people. I understand.
Mox does media as well. Why Soloble's asking. Mox has done media with our pal Riccicino, who hosts the Collision Post Show, and he does a lot of local stuff too. Whenever they're in Ohio, around.
Anytime they're in Ohio, they throw Mox out there every single time.
And I think it's the only place Mox really wants to go out there. And not everyone is needed for it, but you need to identify and work with those who are right for it for media appearances.
Tony Storm would be great as the character as well. Remember they had the fucking Fiend doing the weather? That was amazing.
That got a lot of people upset, but a lot of people entertained. I loved that. That was so stupid.
Like, where are you gonna see just like the character is like good? Like, it's fine if they go on there and just they're their character. Like, that can make for some really fun local hits. Like that's a Mark Briscoe, the Briscoes, like they would do local weather for like ROH and stuff. And like, just imagine the Briscoes just doing these local spots. It rolled. It was hilarious. It's like, these dudes, they're awesome. Like, you need kind of that stuff. So I think you can do it.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent there that want to do it, would be really good at it. They just need to find whatever it is that brings them into it.
Even if they don't want to do it, you got to. You got to. Like, it's part of the job. And I understand, 100%. Like, this is, what's that?
It's 100%, but also you can't, we've done this before where we've been like, yes, it is part of the job. But again, you need to identify those people for whom it is 100% of the job and those who is 75%, basically the level of importance. The EVPs,
you got a title, you should be doing some media. Britt Baker understood that.
100%. You got a physical title belt, or you have a title of executive vice president. You should be out there touting your wares and doing the show. I don't care if, I'm an EVP because I work merchandising. I'm the merch EVP. I don't give a shit. You're still on television. You're still a prominently featured figure. And part of the company name is based on your faction or your group from where it came. Why the hell aren't you out there talking? What is this?
Britt Baker understood when she was the champion that it was more than just like having this title. It was showing up. It was doing media. It was promoting. It was all of this. She got that. And that's why I thought she was a very good champion beyond what she brought to television at the time.
Yeah.
Ilya Dragunov. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Ilya Dragunov, NXT champion. He wasn't even the champion, but he was going into the title match. He was doing media. I asked him about this. Like, is this something you want to do, or is this something they basically ask of you? And he's like, oh, it's largely they ask of me, but I understand the benefits of it. It's like, all right, cool. I appreciate the answer. It's like, Ilya Dragunov is not the first name that's going to come to mind of like, yeah, NXT should have this guy doing media. And it's not anything against Ilya Dragunov. It's just like, you wouldn't think of him as a media guy just based on really his wrestling style and his promos and everything. You're not like, oh yeah, Ilya Dragunov is going to go out there and be doing a bunch of media. He's well cut out for media. But it's like, no, I understand it's part of the job, something I got to do. And so I'm going to do it.
So the same thing when they had Shotzi hosting Halloween Havoc. She wanted to get out there. She wanted to be more present. They asked her to do it. She did 1 billion interviews with anyone who, was available. Let's get the super chat from Will Chisholm. When Cody was in AEW, he and Brandy did most of the media interviews more than the other EVPs, to the point where some fans thought Cody was a co-owner to AEW. And it's true. And that's one of the benefits of someone like Cody, and at the time Brandy as well, was that they were out there. They were answering questions. They were good ambassadors. The other EVPs, going back to that, they should be ambassadors for the company beyond just the programs themselves.
Let the Bucks go out there and be dicks in the media. Like, I don't care if you're going to play a character.
This new character that they bring out, let's say they start a new heel character, whole new different Bucks, whatever. Maybe they cut their hair. I don't give a shit how they look. They come back. Let that group go and do some media and be meta versions of themselves. Do whatever they need to do, but put them out there. Put them out in front of a microphone on a radio station, television station, media station, whatever, talking about AEW.
Kenny's very well spoken, by the way. I saw people mentioning Kenny doing media. Kenny always comes off very well in interviews, like very, very well. I would have Kenny doing more media. I understand maybe like he likes doing like Twitch stuff and gaming stuff. Yeah, go. I don't know. See, that's the thing is
I don't care who,
AEW's place,
but just go and do that entertaining, silly shit, and it gets you out there. Part of your gimmick. It's part of your gimmick. Just do it. Do a choke slam. Have Paul White come out and choke slam Jimmy Kimmel through a tape. I don't give a shit. Be entertaining because you're supposed to be entertainers as well.
No, there's real wrestling, Joel. Real graps.
That's on Fridays. On Thursdays, I guess. I'm watching Ring of Honor for $9.99 on anyway. Chat Time Spurs says some of these new Collision shows seem to be seem to be in smaller markets. Erie, Pennsylvania, Edinburgh, Texas, Bossier City, Louisiana, etc., etc. They're going to be in Ottawa in March. Yeah, March 16th, and then that little town of Toronto will host Dynamite. So yeah, exactly. Collision's getting maybe some smaller towns. I don't know if that's part of a process or if that's just like, let's see, because Collision's not as well known as the Dynamite brand. Maybe that's what's going on, but yeah, it's something worth noting.
I think it's that. I think Saturday, it's going to be tough. Like AEW is what it is. They're drawing what they're drawing right now. You're asking fans in a bigger market to spend their Saturday at this show. I don't think it's a very appealing Saturday for people right now in like a New York or wherever, like, you know, a bigger market. So that might be why Collision's running a little bit smaller markets.
Will I go to the Ottawa show? Like I said,
should
the feeling is truly back. I will be at the Ottawa show.
Is the feeling back? You gonna watch Miro?
No. I guess we got to talk about that, don't we?
We don't have to. It's our show. Like,
no, but it's gotten enough traction that I think it's worth discussing. I do want to bring up the Danielson and Andrade match from Tuesday, aired on Saturday. Was really good. I really enjoyed it. Again,
Bryan Danielson's good at wrestling.
He's great at wrestling, and that's the thing. Like, by and large, Collision had some really good wrestling on it. Chris Statlander, I don't know what she was like. I'm not critiquing her attire, but I'm saying when she came out and she looked entirely different than what I've seen her wearing in the last little while. And I thought that was, you know, it's an interesting development. She didn't look like the Chris Statlander alien that I've seen a lot of. So it was good. There was a lot of
She's been the alien in a while. She's been doing Zoolander costumes.
Yeah, she's doing Zoolander and Ben Stiller movies. You're right.
Yeah.
So then what Ben Stiller character was that?
I don't know. She only breaks it out for
pay-per-views.
Pay-per-views usually.
Anyway, it was fine. And yeah, and Claudio and Eddie was a really good match. That was a lot of fun too. The finish, it's so strange that they're doing a lot of these roll-up finishes, and it feels like they're trying to protect some people, but you can just have people lose, and it's a tournament. People can lose in a tournament that has no knockouts unless it's not knockout. You know, you don't get knocked out unless you go under your points. Yeah.
Well, Claudio can't lose. He's got a big ROH match this weekend.
Yes, huge tag match. Anyway, Miro. Yeah. I'm going to let you tee this up because I watched it and I was just like, what are we doing here? And I saw some people talk about it. So go ahead.
I'm going to disappoint you, Joel. I don't think it's good. I'm not interested in it. And I really don't care to talk about it because I don't find it to be good television and I don't want to see any of it. I think it's a dumb angle. I think the way they're trying to play it's dumb. And I basically just fast forward through it or I turn away and pay attention to other stuff, especially if on a Saturday when there's 3 shows going on, because I don't think it's any good. So if it's not good, I have no interest in watching it.
Is he getting, I don't know, what's the heat here? What is the heat? Or also, okay, you know what? Let's go beyond this. Is Andrade leaving AEW? That's another question that's on the docket, because if it happens that Andrade is potentially leaving, then are we pivoting really quickly because we know something's happening? We know Andrade is going to work CMLL, but of course, traditionally AEW talent is able to work other promotions and companies with their agreements. But yeah, but what are we doing? What are we doing storyline wise? I know it's not good, and I know the promo got a lot of people feeling a certain way, and I get that. So where are we going? And did we maybe go a little too soon?
I think the only logical explanation is Miro and Andrade do have a match, and then depending on if Andrade is leaving, who wins and loses, and then Miro just goes back with CJ Perry, or CJ Perry is like, this is my man, and it was all just manipulate. I don't know where it's going, because like a lot of it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, honestly. Like I kind of got the first part when CJ first came in and Miro was like, you're distracting, no, and then CJ's like trying to get his attention, and so, let me have my client Action Andretti. And then Miro beats the shit out of Action Andretti. And now it's, my client Andrade. But now Miro can't beat up Andrade. And Miro's just like, you're distracting. Go back home. Go do your thing in the house type of thing. And it's like, yeah, I don't think CJ and like Andrade have any chemistry. Like, I just don't think it's good. I don't know what else you want me to add. I don't think it's good, and I'm not interested in it.
This angle has to do with 3 people who want to be in WWE.
Honestly, that's what it feels like. It feels like I like the Miro Redeemer stuff and worshiping his God and everything. Like the second CJ got involved, and I don't have anything against CJ. I actually think there's value to her in wrestling as a manager, as a media person, like just doing a lot of different things. But doing this another like love sort of just story with Miro, when I've seen it done in WWE a bunch of times, and it wasn't good then, but at least it was campy enough then to where it's like, okay, sure, haha. Like this is like trying to be serious, and it just sucks.
Remember when it cost Miro an entire storyline in WWE?
I do, yeah. And Jeff is right. Like I just said, she doesn't have any chemistry
but
with
also,
Andrade.
She doesn't have it with Miro on screen either. That's the best part. Is sometimes, and by the way, this shouldn't be a shock to anyone. Sometimes you just don't have it. You don't have that chemistry on screen with a partner like you might in real life, or vice versa. Like that does exist. Becky
and Seth has said this a million times. When they got paired up, they were like, it was 2 different characters and it didn't work out on screen. And like, we could not click on screen for whatever reason it was. It just did not click on screen. Cause a lot of times like 2 people are not comfortable being on screen of like, hey, we're going to be on screen together, but we know we're on television. It's not natural on screen like that, because you're on television. Again, Becky and Seth is probably the easiest example to use on this. They seem like they're very happy. They seem like I listened to enough Seth interviews, enough Becky interviews. Seems like they're a good time. You watch them in the car road trip nonsense that WWE used to do. You watch them there. It's like, oh, these people are fun. This is cool. This is fun. Then you watch them on television, like, where the fuck are these people? What is going on here? Like it happens. It happens.
It's true. What do you think? Okay, chat, I'm asking you, and Jeremy, I'm asking you, which match happens first? Miro versus Andrade or Swerve versus Keith Lee?
Swerve and Keith Lee ain't happening at all. That was the biggest takeaway from the Seth interview.
That's right.
Is when he was like, what happens? What did you see her performance on Jeopardy? And he's like, no. I didn't. She won't let me watch it. And he's like, I respect that. Seth said he'd be good at Jeopardy. I believe him. He says he's got a lot of useless knowledge.
I got it. Oh, all right. You want to run down Raw real quick?
Yes.
Do you have anything else you want to talk about from AEW?
I don't know. Do you have anything to add with Miro and I feel like I just dismissed it because it's not for me and I don't think it's good. And
no, that's fair. I'm in the camp of letting it play out. I think the promo was very stupid. If Miro's trying to get European male misogyny heat, then guess what? You did it, but I don't think that's very beneficial to anybody. And if we're getting to Andrade versus Miro at World's End, because guess what? Miro said, I'm not going to touch your boy until the end of the tournament. Well, guess when the tournament ends, and guess who might not be in the finals of the tournament? So you set up Miro and Andrade then, and if that's that, great, have the match and just get it over with. Hopefully it's good. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I don't care for it. I saw a lot of the discourse and I was kind of like, okay, well, it's just a shitty promo, and some people are feeling, rightfully so, offended by some of the words, some of the things Miro said. They're trying to tell a story. It's not a very good story. So now we just have to, quote unquote, let it play out and see where it lands.
Let it play out on Rampage.
And I don't hate that, because we talked about this. Ortiz and Santana could have been a tentpole Rampage, not even long term, but at least some sort of story. And you need to have that. Now Rampage has become, this is what's really interesting to me. AEW is starting to find like what show is which, and Rampage is almost becoming the Lucha show, where they're having like one big Lucha style match on the show and then everything else that surrounds it. And then Dynamite, you've got your main characters, and Collision, you've got your main characters there. Also, I got to tell you something. So for the first time, I watched the Big Bill running the cart into Chris Jericho's arm from Full Gear, the digital exclusive. First time I saw it was on Collision. I never realized how poorly done that was. It looks like Bill did it in slow motion because he didn't want to hurt Jericho.
No, you go in slow motion. He still wants to beat Chris Jericho in the ring, like he doesn't want to like fully incapacitate the man. He just wants to hurt him a little bit. That's all.
I disagree. You should be trying to incapacitate your opponents at all time. Anyway, speaking of incapacitation, we got 3 hours of Raw coming up on Monday, so we get to go
watch Rampage, or Bryan Danielson will find your ass.
You will. That's true. Confirming several reports and getting a lot of people angry in the meantime. Let's talk about Monday Night Raw. Will CM Punk sign with Monday Night Raw? Yes or no?
Breaking news, Joel Pearl.
My God, here we go.
I will be at Monday Night Raw tonight. If you happen to be at Raw, come say hi. I will be wearing a 2022 Stanley Cup champion Colorado Avalanche hat. So, if somebody, when I was at WrestleCade, someone was like, I didn't recognize you in the hat. And it was like, it was a Colorado Avalanche hat. There ain't gonna be too many people walking around with this hat. So if you see me, come say hi, and we'll take a mark photo. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna charge $50. $50.
Smart. Someone approached me at Final Resolution, by the way, and said that we are great with our interviews. So shout out to them.
I paid that person probably.
That would make sense. He was a nice guy, so that would make sense. Yeah.
So yeah, I'll be at Raw tonight. I'm looking forward to it. We discussed when we learned that Raw was in Cleveland a couple weeks ago. The wife messaged me and was like, "We gotta go. We don't know if this will be the last time we see CM Punk before he does something stupid." And very fair. He's playing nice right now. I think he'll last a little while. But yeah, very fair. Good show tonight. We got Punk making his decision that doesn't ultimately matter, because he'll just appear on whatever brand they want him to appear on whenever they need him to appear on that brand. Cody and Shinsuke, which I'm really looking forward to.
Yep.
Shinsuke should win clean. And then
what?
Jay got the yeet back. Jay's got the yeet back. Very, very excited for Jay.
Yep, the yeet is no longer fleeting.
Yeah. Jay and Drew. I'm doing this all night, and then I'm also gonna do it at Raw.
I hate you,
Jay, and then we got Becky. Becky's gonna be there. What else is on this?
Call out Nia Jax.
Yeah.
Will she call out Nia Jax, or will she just not swerve?
Oh, she should fist fight Nia Jax. I just want to see some fist fights. That's what I want.
All about fisting tonight.
Throwing hands.
Everybody's fisting on Monday Night Raw. And then Maxine Dupree takes on Rhea Ripley in non-title action.
Hell yeah.
Okay. I need to know where does this go? Because you've got a North American title-less Dominic Mysterio. You've got an upset Judgment Day because they lost to the Creeds they didn't lose to. They didn't take the Creeds seriously, and now they got the tag title match and all that. We just have a Judgment Day that's very confused. And then we have the Alpha team, the Alpha Academy. How does this all work tonight? Because I'm very intrigued by this weirdness.
I think Maxine wins tonight.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That would be weird.
I think there's some shenanigans and Rhea gets like thrown off
R-Truth gets involved.
and Maxine like wins. And that's how Rhea takes her because it's non-title. So that's how Rhea can take an L and then she'll get the win back. I assume at Rumble or wherever.
Monday Night Raw, January 1st, San Diego, California.
Yeah, maybe. She gets the win back then. I would not be shocked if Maxine wins tonight, though. I really wouldn't. I also would be shocked if Rhea wins in like 5 seconds and is like, yeah, your Alpha Academy training sucks.
They should have Tozawa come out, do the dance. Oh, that's nasty. And then they'll roll up. And that's the victory for Maxine.
Go. Big toot on Rhea Ripley.
Big toots?
Yeah. That's what he does. He farts, right? Isn't that the whole thing?
I don't think that's what he does.
Is it not?
I don't think that's what he does. Listen,
I thought that was
if you're sitting close enough because you're a big WWE shill and you famously hate AEW, then you will go and you'll be able to smell it because you'll be sitting front row in your Brock Lesnar t-shirt.
I do have
your half face painted clown attire.
I do have a Brock Lesnar t-shirt. Why am I half face painting my clown?
I'm bringing up everybody who would normally be sitting front row at a WWE event that we've seen. You should wear a green t-shirt as well with a smiley face on it, though he goes to AEW stuff as well.
Oh, I don't know any of these people. I don't get it.
We interviewed one of them.
He was in full clown makeup, though.
Was he? I don't remember.
I don't remember. Shout out to Frank the Clown. Good guy, Frank the Clown.
He is a good dude. I did like him. That was a good interview we had with him, too. Yeah. Go check it out in the archives, as Conrad Thompson used to say on his podcast. Go check it out in the archives. Does he still do? I don't listen to Conrad Thompson.
I don't know. I thought you were like retiring Conrad Thompson from podcasting.
That would be fantastic. Can I take over for Conrad? Joel Rad Thompson? Doesn't work. Joel Rad Pearlson?
No, none of this. No.
Conjoel Pearls? Tom Pearl?
No, stop it. What podcast would you want to do? Who would you want to interview on the Conrad Thompson Network? Like every single week. You got to do a podcast with this person every week, Joel.
Can I pick? Nobody.
No, you want to take over for Conrad. Who do you want to do the interview?
What if I don't want to take over for Conrad? What if I want Conrad every week? I want the ins and outs of the Conrad empire. I want to ask him about all of the interactions and all of the arguments and all of the when he started and he and Bruce would just go at each other and you would hear Conrad just screaming, and then eventually he stopped because he either figured out it was a bit or his doctor intervened and said, "Watch your blood pressure." I want to know those questions. I want to sit down with Connie, have a big long chat about that.
I feel like we could get Conrad on this show.
Could we?
Yeah, I feel like we could.
Let's talk to John Alba.
That's not who we would go through to get Conrad on this show.
You're right. I was the wrong. Sorry, I went the wrong direction on that one. My bad. I went the wrong direction on that. Let's get out of here before I stick my foot down my throat.
Yeah. Watch Raw tonight if you want. I don't really care. I'll be watching Raw live from the Rocket Mortgage Arena or Fieldhouse. Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland, Ohio. I will be there at Raw. I'm looking forward to it. It's a good show. It's got people that I want to see. It's a date night with the wife, which is always fun. So yes, I'm looking forward to Raw tonight. That's all I got to plug. I don't know. Okay. Fightful Overbooked. Watch our interviews. Listen to our interviews. I had to transcribe a bunch of. I was so far behind on our interviews. So far behind. I still am. But sometimes I think we do okay work on this show, Joel. Sometimes.
What do we do? We'll have a guest on Wednesday and Friday. We're gonna get those. But today's show there was enough going on that we.
Joel's making a lot of promises that I don't know if he can keep.
I'm good at those. I just make promises that I can't keep. It's fine. Y'all don't remember by Wednesday anyway, and it's okay. On the channel, I dropped an interview with Nicole Matthews where we sat on the floor and talked about wrestling. It's a fun little thing. It's not really an interview as much as it is just a quick conversation from back in June. So go check that out. It's doing pretty good numbers. And just subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up on the way out, and tell all your friends about In the Weeds. Because if you haven't yet, I don't know what you're thinking, because this is the show. The fireworks and everything.
This looks weird. Look, my head is like floating.
Yeah, that's the way it should be. And watch the video while you're at it, okay? Let's do. I don't know if Raw tonight is a double taping. Jeremy will let us know. I think it's just SmackDown as of right now. Anyway, let's get out of here. I am Metro Pearl, JWLPEARL. Ladies and gentlemen, friends beyond the binary. We will see you on Wednesday.